Morning, Raptor Freak Alexiot's here. Saturday morning. That means it's time for Gary Trent Jr.'s Explosion of Loves, the Share the Love Club that he talked about, how Scotty Barnes was hugging everybody this season, sharing the love, and that's all right. The whole world needs more sharing the love, is what Gary said, and that what Scotty does by sharing the love is very important and great. And today's subject of sharing the love is somebody who gets a little bit of crap, like a lot of crap at times, and I don't think it's deserved. That people need to realize that this man has the heart of a champion. This man is wanting to be a Toronto Raptor for life. That's what he said this week, and I can love him more for it. That he says that the fit is perfect, and he doesn't want to play for anyone else. That if he can play for the Toronto Raptors for his whole entire career, he'd be very, 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 very happy about that. And that is Fred Van Vleet, Rockville's finest. This man, yes. Yes, Rockford's finest. I'm so happy that Fred is on our team. G, good to see you. Yeah, I think that this is the thing. He gets lost in the shuffle from time to time, whether it's like the championship year, whether it's since then and stuff like that. Everybody talks about Pascal. Everybody's talking about Scotty now. They've talked about Lowry before, but Fred is such an important leader on this team and somebody who has been super, super good for us. Like, listen, this man was an all-star for the first time ever this year, and that was completely deserved. This man has the highest scoring performance for the Raptors in a regular season game, beating DeMar DeRozan's record in Orlando in the Tampa season. You know, there's a lot of things about Fred I could say, and I want all y'all to share the positive things about Fred that you love about him and that you appreciate about him right now, because there's a storm going right now on Raptors Twitter and in different places with Raptors fans where they don't like the idea of extending his contract this summer and having him here longer. Well, these people are foolish. We've said this many times already, but we need to reiterate this all over and over again, that Fred is a really, really good piece to our team and that y'all need to stop being casual about him. It's not something to be casual about. This man, once again, as I've said in the past, has a blueprint. He has the treasure map to get to the goal, because this man has been to the highest level of the NBA and he knows what it takes to get there. And that our championship team from 2019 has been disassembled over the years, one by one, each offseason. We lose two of the main guys. The first offseason, Kawhi and Danny. Second offseason, Serge and Mark. And then the offseason after that, Norman and Kyle. So we can't afford to lose any more of our important players from that championship year if we want to have continuity between championships. And that is evidently shown with Golden State and how they kept it together, even though they went through really bad years just now. They kept those four guys that are in all four of their championships in this dynasty: Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Andre Iguodala. Well, I'd love to have four guys that could run through a whole bunch of championships with us, but now we only have four guys left from our championship year. And I'd like to keep them all here as long as possible. And the one that's the most important to lock down right now is Chris Boucher. The Chris Boucher needs to get signed up back to the Raptors for next season. But we would like to also see Fred get that extension. That there is security in having El Capitan around the team, that there are all kinds of reasons why, and we will talk about them more. Good morning to my brother, Carl. He is back in Atlanta, back with his family. I'm so happy to see you this past week. So many great times and moments this past week with you, Carl. I love you very much, and send my love to the kids and Sabrina, please. Tom Duke saying, Captain Fredrico. Yeah, I like that. Bet on yourself. That's right. This is something that is super underrated about Fred. And it's like a part of the whole thing is that he's underrated. He was underrated the night that he did not get drafted, the night that he rented that restaurant and had all his friends and family come and to see him get drafted, and then he didn't get drafted. How disappointing that could be, how that could really take you down in your confidence and stuff like that. Well, what happened? Well, he took an invite to our training camp, and he started making a position for him on the Raptors by carving one out the hard way. The way that, listen, this is the thing. I'd much rather have a Fred Van Vleet as somebody who made his spot in this NBA than somebody who just got it handed to them. They're coasting and they haven't really worked as hard to get it. That Fred Van Vleet had to work for every single inch of his NBA career, that he had no guarantees, that he came from nowhere because he did not get drafted, and he had to claw and fight to get to where he is today as an NBA All-Star, a starter for the Toronto Raptors, and also just a really solid point guard pro in this league. If you, like I said, people talk in the league, they say this is somebody that you have to fear in some ways. This is somebody you have to look out for in some ways. This guy's a real baller and he's a real winner. And that was all built by him and his attitude and his never give up, his bet on himself mentality. And I'd rather have guys like this leading our team, guys that came from nowhere, that really understand the grind and the journey to get to that position because they did that way. Oh, yeah. Tom Duke's saying Fred had a banner collegiate career. Yes, Tom's talking about his career as a shocker in Wichita State and the different stuff, that the accomplishments they had there. He is the guy on the Raptors team that has gotten the further in the big dance in college. This is the man who got the Final Four. And, you know, that is amazing in itself. He is a real winner. Like, that's not a big school, Wichita State. Who are they to be messing around with the Final Four in the big dance in the March Madness? You know, who are they to do this? Well, big reason was Fred Van Vleet, because he was a common thread through those years when Wichita State was a powerhouse in college basketball. And we need to recognize that. And then, like I said, he came to Toronto. He didn't get anything handed to him. He had to work. And they told this story about him coming in and playing against Lowry from the beginning. And Lowry knew this guy was going to be something. And he took him under his wing because he challenged Lowry in the practice. He made Lowry have to, like, whoa, wait a second. This guy's trying me and he's doing something that's kind of, ooh, okay. All right. Now I see what's up. And like, yeah, Fred was like, yeah, it's like this. You better watch out. And boom, Fred, all of a sudden he rose and rose on the Raptors roster, from a G League player to like an end of the bench 15th man to a good decent rotation player to boom a sixth man to boom starting, boom to all-star. That's what I'm saying. You cannot understate or underestimate somebody who has that kind of work drive to go through all that and get to those kind of heights. And this is why you guys got to stop devaluing him. Sure, you look at the way he comes to the lane and gets blocked. Sure, you look at the way sometimes he turns the ball over or he holds the ball a little too long or all this other kind of things that you guys say about dissing him. But this man has done so many better things than worse things over the times. Think about all the times he's come up and he's recognized when his defender is laying off of him and he is shot that three-pointer so sweet over their head and made it. Think about all the times this season when our team was in chaos because we had a lot of young players that didn't know what they were doing, and we didn't have Pascal back, and we needed Fred to go out there and be exactly what his nickname was, Steady Freddy. That he had to be out there and steady the game and kind of control it and get everybody calmed down, get control of the pace of the game for the Raptors so it would be more in our favor. These are things that you guys don't understand about Fred, that Fred can influence the pace of the game. That as a point guard, he can really steady the game. It's literally his nickname. And it's interesting that there's an interview with CJ Miles talking about how he gave Fred that nickname during the bench mob days, that he called him Steady. And he said that it was more because of the way he can control the game, that he doesn't hurry up, that he doesn't get, frazzled or like frantic, that he goes within himself in the flow of the game to control the pace of the game and all that kind of stuff. That's why he's Steady Freddy. And, I completely understand. Jordan's here. Good to see Jordan. It's great to see Fred put the team on his chest and be vocal for the squad. He is a true embodiment of our values. This is not an understatement right here by Jordan. One of the biggest values that the Raptors has is winning, that we want to win. And this is what Fred's all about. And there's something special about the unique blend of somebody who wants to win so bad that they want to be known as a champion. This is what Fred Fred says, that on his vision board, he wants people to see him and associate. Like if you're playing word association with him, you see the name Fred Van Vleet, you want to say champion. That's what he wants them to say. And that means he wants to have a common thread of championships throughout his career. But then again, somebody who wants to be a champion all the time, well, sometimes they could be an egomaniac. Somebody would be like, demand the ball. Maybe they could be a little bit of a prima donna, a little bit like LeBron in some ways. But that's not the case with him. He's the kind of guy that will work within his talents, within the team, to make it the best benefit for the team. And people don't realize this, that everybody's worried about Fred getting extended and him taking away things from the young players coming up. This man will take a back seat to do whatever in any game situation to help us, whether that's stepping up and taking the game over because we're in trouble, or it's taking a back seat to a young player like Scotty Barnes and allowing him to grow and take over himself and help him succeed and take over in a better way. This man has no ego in this way. You guys have to realize this. It's not about his scoring average. It's not about him getting touches. It's not about him handling the ball. It's about him getting the W's. It's about him getting the Larry O'Briens, and it's about him working with the team as a team to get there. And I love what Jordan said. He's exactly right. He literally has said this week, that he wants to be a lifer, a Raptor for life. And that is something not to discount. DeMar said the same damn thing, and we saw what we did to him. And that's sad, and I hate that. There's been players before that would have loved to be here before, and they had not stayed here. We need to value these guys when they say this, because they haven't been that many throughout our history at different times, and that this is very special and important. All right, let's see. G-Sam, before his injury this year, he was just behind Steph in catch and shoot last season. Sometimes recency bias gets the best of people. Yeah, there's only a certain tier of guys that are anywhere near Steph Curry, and Fred is actually on that top 5 list. If you're going to say Steph Curry is this dude, he's a top 10 all-time greatest player of all time in the NBA. He has 4 championships. He's an MVP. He's all this, he's all that. Well, there's only a few players in this league that have any kind of skill set that kind of overlaps with Steph Curry. And Fred Van Vleet is one of them. Listen, there's not many guys in this league that have the range that Steph Curry and Fred Van Vleet have. That Fred purposefully extended his range to half court so that he would have that Steph Curry, Trae Young range. And that is not something that is common in the NBA. That is a reason just alone right there to keep and want to have Fred there, that he can shoot threes very effectively from way out, way out. And it stretches the floor for the other guys and in a way out from the basket. That's really important, that the guards on the other team have to come out and meet Fred at half court, because if they lay off of him, he will make them pay. And at this point, he's such a vet. He can totally tell when he needs to do this. He went under the tutelage of Kyle Lowry, and he knows how to read so much stuff on the court in so much veteran ways because of his learning under Kyle Lowry for the years that he was playing with him. So there's all kinds of reasons and intangibles that we need to value as Raptor fans about Fred, and stop the Fred slander. Stop saying he's not worth the money, because listen, he's worth the money. He's made the money already in some ways. It's not even this money is for him for the future. This is paying him for what he's already done, is what I'm telling y'all. We need to reward him, because on the down low, listen, on my greatest Raptors of all time list, he's in the top 5. I put him above Kawhi. I put him above Vince Carter, because his impact and his longevity and what he has done for the culture of the Raptors has been so much more important in some ways. So there you go. Let's see. I want to keep going here. And G, you're right. The injury this past year really tainted how people see him, because they saw him half of who he was. He wasn't totally effective. Let him get healthy and let him be used at a level that's not overusing him next season. And let's see how he does all year. And then let's see how he does in the playoffs. If he's very healthy for the playoffs next season, you will see a big difference between him in the second half of this year and the playoffs this year if you get him healthy in the playoffs next year, I promise you will see a big difference. All right, let's see. Gravedigger's here. I have Boston, Philly, and the Nets all over the Raptors. You guys will be battling it out with the Knicks next season. If I'm the Raptors, I start tanking for picks. All right, Gravedigger is actually digging his grave on this channel, and wrenches are there to be thrown. Gravedigger, you're just as ugly as the monster truck. Listen, you motherfucker. You listen. I'm gonna tell you right now. Boston is a little unsure of themselves. Listen, Boston fans are a little hurt right now. Yeah, it's a little raw at this moment to feel that failure, that awful failure. I don't even know what team you're for, Gravedigger. I'm just gonna burn all of the ones you mentioned. Boston is tainted with failure at this point. They can't say something that we can, and this says 2019. And that we did take care of business against the Warriors. And don't give me that fucking asterisk bullshit with the injuries. Boston has some searching their soul kind of things to do this summer. And that if anything, they need to be maybe thinking about who they need on their team. We're very confident with who we have on our team. And anybody who comes to us with the word tank, you're fucking stupid. We have one of the best things going in the league on the down low. And that anybody who doesn't see that, they're an idiot. And you will find out very soon the reality of the Toronto Raptors, Mr. Gravedigger. And your comments will be digging your own goddamn grave, you idiot. And now as for Philly, they are a true dumpster fire. I'm not going to lie. They have all kinds of problems. They have an idiot GM. They have James Harden on their roster. And, Joel Embiid is limited. He's never going to win a championship. The center era is over. That it was what really wasn't any center renaissance. It was a blip. It was a mirage. That all these guys that are big, you saw who got in the finals. All these big guys, they didn't do jack shit in the playoffs. They can be fucking taken care of and played against and beaten. Like Jokic, all these guys. Jokic is better than Embiid anyway, but Embiid did not help them and get there. So Philadelphia is a bit of a dumpster fire on the down low. They're putting out fires inside that they don't want anybody to see. That they can't really build off of this success because there's some real fundamental problems with their team. I'm going to tell you right now, Doc Rivers is not the coach for them. Their GM is not the GM for them. And James Harden is not the second option for them. So until they figure out those positions differently, they're fucked. I'm going to tell you right now, Philadelphia ain't going to do shit. And the Nets, I'm sick of y'all talking about the Nets. The Nets are pretenders. We've seen how they are the last 2 years. The real Nets have been the Nets the last 2 years. That Kyrie Irving is not going to get re-signed with the Nets because the Nets don't want to pay him. This is the damn truth. And he will walk. And then Kevin has said, you know what? If Kyrie's not here, I don't want to be here either. So then the Nets will be just a pathetic, normal Nets that have nobody on their team. So listen, let's get in reality, Gravedigger. These teams that you're talking about in the Atlantic Division, they're going to be garbage next year except for Boston. I think Philly will be okay, but I don't have any faith in the Nets organization or what they're doing. That they're kind of really a dumpster fire that mirrors and balances with the Lakers. That the Lakers and the Nets are the two dumpster fires on two ends of the nation. Ben Simmons is not going to save them. Come on. Look at this dude looking like Arthur and his orange creamsicle shit in the playoffs. This motherfucker is not coming to save the Nets. And Kyrie's going to probably have to leave. And that means Kevin won't be happy. And then it's the whole thing with Kevin in Brooklyn is going to be over. Is basically what I'm going to say. And yeah, the Knicks, you know what? I think the Knicks might be a little better. We'll have to see what they do in free agency and stuff like that. I'm not going to kick a team when they're down. I don't want the Knicks to get better, but they got to get better at some point. We thought this year was going to be the year they're going to get better. But listen, don't count us out. We may be the Eastern Conference champions next year, Gravedigger. And everything that you're saying is going to look so stupid at this point. We're sick of y'all sliding us. We're a real team, and we're going to emerge. Starting this year coming up, we already on the down low emerged last year, but nobody wants to take a look at it and really pay attention and talk about the reality of the Toronto Raptors and what's going on here with our young core. Well, you guys are going to find out more and more with Big Roy, number 4. That's right. G saying, yeah, Gravedigger, watch and learn. G saying, Raptors are one of the youngest teams in the league. Good luck with that. Yeah, get them, G, get them. And listen, if he keeps talking, I'm not into this today. We're about sharing the love for Fred Van Vleet, and we don't need time for fucking idiot NBA fans that just want to come in here and slight the Raptors that don't have a very, very astute observation or perspective about what's going on here, because they have the Canada discount in their head and they have no fucking idea what we're sitting on. That Precious Achua by himself, even if we didn't have Scotty Barnes, would be an emerging superstar in this league. That we're getting things out of him that Miami did not get. Same thing with Gary Trent in Portland. They didn't get these things out of them. So just imagine, we're the class of the league. And the Boston, honestly, in some ways, there's some problems with your franchise because you have racism from years and years of racism. And, maybe there's some sort of forces out there that want to humiliate Boston Nation and make them feel how they feel when they left the building 2 nights ago. So that's all I'll say about it. Boston, you get what you deserve because y'all are kind of trash people, is what I'll say. If you're a Boston fan, Gravedigger. All right, let's say David is saying, all right, get this, Gravedigger, moron, out of here. It's the weekend. No time for this shit. Yes, David S. Tom, please. G, whoever. It doesn't matter. G saying Nets on average are 31 years old and the Rap stars are 24 on average. Whose future is actually better? Even Philly overall is much older. Philly is much older, and also their bench sucks. They don't have a good bench. I'm sorry. They were exposed by the Raptors and Miami in the playoffs. That honestly, we should have beat Philly. If we were 100% healthy, we would have beat Philly's ass in the first round. But we had injuries and we had different problems. And I fully am confident that the Raptors would have won if they were the fully healthy Raptors. Fred Van Vleet wasn't hurt, but all kinds of different things. It could be a lot of different things. All right, Greg Digger saying, happy Father's Day to everybody. I know Raptors Nation is beaten and defeated now, and I don't see any end in sight, but keep your heads up. You're a fucking idiot. We're not beaten down. We are very optimistic, and we're super happy about how things are going. We have a very bright future. In fact, you may be talking about where you're at with your fan nation and how you feel, and you're projecting a little bit right now. We are fully confident about what's going on with us. In fact, we don't need anything right now. We're going to go about our business this offseason. We're going to re-sign Chris Boucher, possibly Thad Young. We don't even need to make a free agent splash or a draft pick because we are growing within. That all of our guys are top-notch professionals, character guys, and they're all committed to the Raptors and playing together. That the Jake from State Farm bullshit is all lies. These dudes were together in Miami this past week, eating together at a restaurant, like 7 of the Raptors core. And these dudes love each other and they love playing with each other. When they come back next year with another year together of synergy, motherfucker, find out. Just look and see what Scotty Barnes looks like next season. Just look and see what Precious Achua looks like next season. And don't even get it twisted. People like Pascal and Fred work on their games and they get better also. So every single one of the Raptors is going to come back better, and we are going to be better as an aggregate. Listen, we would be a top 4 NBA Eastern team if we hadn't missed a month of Pascal at the beginning of the season. That we would have had home court advantage in the first round. We were on that track. Boston had a great record for most of the season, but we were right there with them after December. So don't get it twisted, Gravedigger. And don't try and slant your shit by saying that we're in trouble and, we don't see any end in sight. You're a fucking idiot. Maybe you don't see any end in sight and you fell in the grave and somebody's digging and putting that dirt on top of you, because we are not in that situation. We're staying alive, we're alive and well, and we're kicking ass, and we are very confident. And this is the thing, we've got it all the way through our organization. Our GM is confident in the players, doesn't feel like he needs to make a move. Our coach is very happy with our players. The players are happy with who's on the team with each other. This is the thing, there's like no problems here. That's why Jake has to manufacture bullshit just to start some turmoil. And now you're trying to start some bullshit. It's just like the Republicans, what you're doing here. You're trying to fucking make a dumpster fire where there isn't one. And you know what? You can fuck right off, Gravedigger. And if I see another comment from him, gee, just throw the wrench, please. Yeah, we're laughing my ass off. We're actually very excited. I can't wait for the next season. Seriously, we're going to come to whatever team your team is, Gravedigger, and we're going to beat your ass is what we're going to do. Oh, yeah. David S. is saying, everyone thought it was going to be the Lakers versus Nets finals. How did that work out, Gravedigger, you tool? Yes, David, get him. Yes. These motherfuckers that believe in super teams are dead. These motherfuckers that believe in what the NBA hype machine says and discounts us, well, motherfucker, we're going to show y'all the reality again, just like we did in 2019. And very short time. Don't be surprised if it's a rematch of 2019 in the finals next season. Because listen, I'm looking at everybody in the East, and everybody's gettable, and we could be top dog. And you have a huge blind spot because you discount us, Gravedigger. You're gonna find out. Oh, it's gonna be so fun next year when we're beating the shit out of everybody. We're road warriors. We go and beat everybody in their own house, and we just kick so much ass. And we're a top 3 Eastern team next year. You better fucking write that in right now, because the Raptors gonna be in the top 3 next year in the East, motherfucker. Yeah. G is He's saying he's projecting his misery and sadness. That's exactly what this is, G. This could be Boston fan, and he feels so shitty about how they got humiliated on their own court by the fucking great Steph Curry and his team beating their ass on their court. Oh, motherfucker. Oh, we beat the Warriors' ass, but the Boston Celtics did not. No, they didn't. They lost. Jason Tatum is a loser. Let's just put it that way. Pascal Siakam is a winner, motherfucker. So if you're a Celtic fan, Gravedigger, I will lay it on you real quick. Tom Duke's saying muscle, basketball. He's saying cup. He's saying Raptor. He's saying that looks like a goat. Yeah, Raptor goat. And that seems cup. I think this. I translate this Raptor rebus to say Fred Van Vleet. That's what I see. I see a big muscle. I see a basketball. I see a bunch of championships. And I see a goat. And that I'd love to say that Fred Van Vleet is one of the greatest of all time Raptors ever. And I will say that because he's in my rankings. All right, David's saying, yeah, just bite the he's saying just bite the curb, clown. David, you're becoming one of my favorites, man, because honestly, you're a real one. G saying our superstar coming up is only 20, and you think we're down? I know. Listen, everybody wants Scotty. Listen, everybody knows Scotty. This like Magic 2020. This is Magic Johnson 2020 coming up, y'all. This is the reality of Scotty Barnes, and the rest of the league is scared. So they're starting with the information war. Ooh, they're Putin. They're telling the people about why Russia's great and why Ukraine is wrong. This is the same shit that this Gravedigger guy's doing. It's just Putin propaganda against the Raptors and not the reality of what's happening. At least we know what the reality is here in the Raptor Freak channel. And, the other Raptor fans may get sullied in it and start buying into it, but don't listen to them. Come watch us. We'll tell you the truth here. Tom, I hope you're telling him you're cussing the hell out of him. I think that's what you did there. I don't know. CC saying live chat. Stop giving attention to people that go into chats just to stir up crap. That's what they want, is to get a rise out of people. Ignore. CC, I agree. And I totally agree with this as far as like an MO to anybody like Jake Fisher, anybody who's like this. You're right. We give power to what we give attention. But listen, this is the thing. I got to read every comment. I didn't know what he was going to say. So, and the other thing is there is a little bit of an entertainment value on this channel by some of the regulars that they like to see me take down somebody. So listen, I don't like getting sewered in it for too long. And Tom and G, since you guys are the wrenches that are here, seriously, throw that wrench earlier so that, maybe give them one or two. As soon as you see it, it's because it wastes our time, like CC's saying. And I agree with CC. G saying back to Fred, our champ. That's right. Tom Duke saying, how about how great of a stepdad Fred Van Vleet had? Pretty sure that's one guy that showed him leadership and generally how to be a great human. Yes, Mr. Danforth, Officer Danforth, because he's a police officer, y'all. Yeah. That Fred has such an interesting story. It was tough. His dad died when he was young and stuff like that, and things like that. So he is really an interesting mold to him, that they molded him in a certain way to get him to be the man he is today. And it was partly from his real dad who died. He did know him and was around him. And then also from his stepdad, the man that his mother married to afterwards. And there's all kinds of different people, like coaches. There's different peers and friends. He has an older brother. There's people like that have really molded Fred to be who he is. And this week he's in Rockford, and he's doing the Fred Van Vleet week. He has a bowling tournament in the bowling alley there, and then of course basketball camps and all kinds of stuff. I think there's like 3 or 4 events throughout the whole week that where he's going to be doing stuff with his community where he's from. And that's awesome and fantastic. That's a celebration in itself down there, Fred Van Vleet week in Illinois. And that's badass. And I also want to talk about his fiance, his soon to be wife, Shantae. She's just a high class, very awesome person herself, a real person with a big heart is Shantae. And like I said, I've seen her on social media talking to people, and she finds out about a fan who's going through a medical thing or having some issues in their life. She's like, you know what? I want to get this person a Fred Van Vleet signed jersey. And that's what she does. She's like, get this person a jersey and stuff like that. So I really am happy and excited for them to tie the knot and to be married from now on, and just happy and stuff like that. That I know that Fred's family is such a huge anchor in his life, and it's such a thing that inspires him. And that, his daughter and Fred Jr. are such amazing little kids. And Fred Jr. was amazing for us in 2019 in the playoff run, because once Fred was born, then all of a sudden, boom, Fred was finally able to make a shot in the Milwaukee series, and it carried through into the Golden State series. And we don't talk enough about this. Like right now, Marcus Smart is the Defensive Player of the Year. He was given that award. I didn't agree with that. In fact, I could probably name 5 other guys in the league that deserved the award before him. It's just, once again, the NBA's bias towards Boston. If Boston's near the top, they're going to throw everything at them because they just love sucking Boston's cock. I know I said something nasty and ugly just now, but it's the damn truth. The NBA does this to Boston. We're like the opposite. They shun us and they don't talk about us. They put us down. But Boston, they'll prop them up and they'll give them everything. I never agreed with Marcus Smart being the Defensive Player of the Year this year. And look what he did with Steph Curry. Steph Curry absolutely killed him in the finals, absolutely murdered him. And what happened when we played them in 2019? What happened? Fred Van Vleet put the clamps on Steph Curry. Fred Van Vleet did one of the best jobs on Steph Curry that anybody's ever done in the finals, in all the finals that Steph has been in. If you look at the statistics, that Steph was actually shut down to a degree by Fred. And that doesn't get talked enough about. That Fred Van Vleet did something that the Defensive Player of the Year this year in this series this year could not do to Steph Curry. And that is kind of put the clamps on Steph to a degree. And so that's a huge thing right there. Let's see. CC saying, has anyone heard any updates on Fred's knee? You know what? He said that he took it really lightly immediately after the playoffs ended, that he took time to he didn't do anything. He took about 2 weeks where he didn't do anything. He just went to the beach. He went on a family vacation down south to the islands or something. And, that time he just took time to relax, but then he started his workouts. There's a picture of him in the last week in a pool lifting the ball out of the water. So he's doing work in water to kind of strengthen his knee and really rehab it and get it right. Because this is something that he needs to get right this summer. And hopefully him and Cam both will have good, healthy knees for the start of the season. Cam having his knee surgery and Fred just fixing what happened. They didn't actually do surgery on Fred's knee. So he's just healing it on his own. He didn't have to go under the knife, which was pretty good. All right, Gravedigger, I'll give you a happy Father's Day. I'll give you a happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to your father. And if you are a father yourself, Gravedigger, happy Father's Day to you. Also, we wear olive branches here. It's just that people come here with pointed sticks, as Monty Python used to say. We will have blueberries to attack you back. So that's just what it is. It's just how it is here. This is Raptor Freak channel. It's about the Raptors. You slight or slander the Raptors. I'm not a mild-mannered Canadian. I am a half and half. I'm a hybrid. I'm an American Canadian. I grew up in the States, but I am Canadian at birth, and I will cut a promo just like a Southern man will from Tallahassee, Florida. I will. Oh, yeah, I will. Shane's saying, happy Saturday. Ha ha, Gravedigger. I think Golden State Warriors should have an asterisk beside this year's championship. If the Raptors were healthy, they would have won the whole thing. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, no, we're not doing asterisks, Shane. That word asterisk is stupid. It should be reserved for people like Barry Bonds, but not for basketball teams that win championships. This has been people don't realize this. It's just an easy way to sewer or downplay or insult real champions. This has happened throughout the whole history of the NBA since the 40s, that players get hurt, main players get hurt, and they miss playing in the finals, and it helps one team or it hurts one team one way or the other. It's just how it is. Magic's hurt. Larry's hurt. LeBron's hurt. Draymond's hurt. People get hurt. And this is just part of the formula for winning a championship is you have to have skill. Obviously, you have to be a high skill team that plays well. You have to have some luck go your way. We had bad luck against Philly, and that really hurt us. That was maybe one of the biggest things that did us in was our luck was really bad, and that led to not having health. You have to have health also. And that you have to have all of those to win a championship. And that those teams that didn't win championships because they were hurt, like Golden State or a Cleveland team or whoever in the recent history of time where people slight the other team, they just weren't good enough or strong enough to make it through the gauntlet. And that's the damn truth. Is Golden State was not strong enough to beat us in 2019 because they didn't have their full health. And, honestly, even if they had their full health, I don't think they would have beat us. That we were a team of destiny that year with Kawhi. The one year we had Kawhi, we were a team of destiny. We were going to get it. And that's why we went and got Marc Gasol, because we knew we were going to get it. You got to look at that roster and give that team more respect. That this 2019 NBA champion team from Toronto is a really badass team. And as more and more time goes on, people are going to recognize and celebrate that championship more and more special. It's just that haters are in charge of the narrative for right now. But over history, that Raptors championship is going to look more and more beautiful in different ways, especially when we get our second one. Watch, because we are going to try and be the next San Antonio Spurs dynasty of the NBA. I'm going to tell you that right now. All right, let's see. G-San, yes, Fred kept Steph's points the lowest in the league during the seasons and playoffs. Yeah, Fred actually plays him really well. Like really, really well. Like that's something right there to keep him around for. Like if we need a defensive stopper as a big to handle people like Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic, well, we want somebody at the other end of the spectrum that can do something against somebody like Steph Curry and Trae Young. And that's why we need a fully healthy Fred Van Vleet who can get around and do what he's done already. Stuff like that. Yeah. Tobias is here. Good to see Tobias. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers on here. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Yes, it's tomorrow. I'll be on tomorrow. We can do it then too, but we'll do Father's Day today too. Evelyn's saying, happy windy Saturday to all. Granny is traveling to Niagara on the lake with baby Candace, listening while traveling. Oh, all right. Well, I'll stop cussing so much. Granny Evelyn, we always love you. You and baby Candace, you are the best Raptor freaks. And David S is saying, hi, Evelyn and baby Candace. Yes, always nice to get a little drop in by Granny Evelyn and baby Candace. And I hope you guys have a great time on Niagara on the lake. That sounds like a wonderful Saturday plan. Honestly, Tobias saying we just didn't get the respect we deserved in 2019. Yeah, we didn't in a lot of ways, but it's okay. It happened. And listen, there's so many special moments about that championship, whether it's our parade and just the immense crowd that we got, whether it's, just all the little special things about it, as far as like that whole thing at City Hall was amazing with the speeches and them on the bus coming up the street and just all the different great things about how the city felt after we won the championship. That summer of 2019 was really special here in Toronto, that everybody had a real good feeling and there were all kinds of great things about it. That's what I'm saying. Over time, people will get more and more perspective looking back, and they'll see and they'll be like, wow, that Toronto team, look at who was on that team. They'll just look at the names on that team and they'll be impressed because they're all top-notch players. Like they're going to say they had all these guys on one team. Holy crap. And then maybe they need to give them their due. They really do. Shane's saying, I forget in a text, you can't hear my sarcasm. Fully joking. Hate the asterisk thing to go. Half of winning a championship is like, all right, Shane, I knew it. I was just like, yeah, it's true. We can't do sarcasm very well. I don't do sarcasm very well, like talking to people either. I'm like, I don't know if I'm a little bit on the spectrum that I don't understand. I take people for their words. So when they say something sarcastic to me, sometimes I buy into it even when they're saying it to me. So I don't even catch it off inflection. So I'm definitely going to catch it in text. So Evelyn's saying, big hugs from baby Candace, guys. Oh, big hugs with baby Candace. Oh, that's so awesome. All right, back to Fred. Listen, and there's some things that we need to understand about Fred in the current state of the Raptors, that this man really is El Capitan, that he is the figurehead, he is the C on our team, that he is the guy who's leading these guys. Pascal would not do this in a way that we need him to, that he's not a vocal leader behind back in the locker room. that he is kind of a leader on the court with his scoring and his play, but he's not necessarily the guy that can get people's attention and tell everybody to get it together and get on point. And that is Fred. Fred is that kind of guy. And that, to me, is essential. It's like this is our team captain, y'all. We need him here. That if he's not here, there is a vacuum. This vacuum was caused by Kyle Lowry, and Fred stepped right into it perfectly. Like if you think about losing a guy like Kyle Lowry last offseason and the worry and the mystery about how our leadership would be on this team, what would we be losing, the intangibles of losing Kyle Lowry? Well, Fred Van Vleet stepped right into those shoes and he carried it very admirably. That he did a good job of us not missing a beat because Kyle Lowry had to go to Miami. So that's a big part of it right there. It's like we need to not undervalue his leadership and those intangibles that he brings. That like he was a huge influence on Scotty Barnes this season. That he is imprinting and impacting on a young player like Scott Wayne. That he needs a good role model like Fred. That Fred has done it the hard way. Like Scotty's going a different route than Fred. He's a high draft pick. He's a lottery pick. He is a bona fide superstar almost right from the start. And Fred had to work for everything. So he can really teach him some humility and different things about being a pro and how you carry yourself with maturity. And that is very invaluable. That with our young team, we need a young leader that has a lot of maturity and is wise beyond his years. This is a thing. Fred is like not really that old, but he's already like a grizzled veteran, wise old veteran in this league. The way he carries himself and the way he acts, that in itself has super value. That you could have this dude around for another 5 or 6 years. And that's only going to get better. He's only going to get more and more Lowry with his mentality on the court. So these are things we need to value and understand that there's hidden value in Fred Van Vleet that you may not necessarily see by just his play on the court and stuff like that. Yeah. Tom Duke saying, Granny, he just hugged the camera. Tom, dude. Yeah, I did. Blue City's here. All right, good to see Blue City. I hope Philly fans doing all right, and I hope you felt good about Thursday night like I did. Let's talk about that. Blue City saying, did you guys see when Jason Tatum was crying when he realized he lost in the finals? Yep, he's here exactly doing what I thought he would. Yes, we did see this, Blue City. And this was really good for Atlantic Division foes of Boston. We hate Boston. We really do. This is a page where Philly fan and Toronto fan can really much be on the same team. That Philly fan has a lot of accrued history with the Boston Celtics. They really hate them, and we hate them too. And that, I like to see your name here, Blue City. I hope you've been doing very, very well. And yeah, what a great championship final. Really happy for the Warriors and Steph. And once again, that's a team that won their first championship in your city, Blue City, in the 1947 Philadelphia Warriors. Now they've added to their number. On top of that. And yeah, good for Steph and Andrew Wiggins. Really happy for Andrew because he's Canadian and stuff like that. So there you go. Good to see you, Blue City. And I hope you're having a good off season so far. I'm going to be here every day still. I'm crazy. I'm going to do these live streams even if there's not a whole lot to talk about. So Jordan's saying, I think OG is the silent enforcer. Aha. Yeah, I think you're right, Jordan, that in some ways, this is the thing. OG's going to blow up even more this season coming up. He just needs a healthy year. That this past season could have been his year to like get another leap and bound as far as how much he consistently contributes. But this year, if he can get a good streak of health, watch out. I really see OG being consistently way better this year as far as like maybe he'll be a 20-point scorer right around there, like a dueling kind of scorer with Pascal and stuff like that. I hope so. But I like that silent enforcer thing. Okay, Gravedigger saying, David, happy Father's Day. I hope you'll pass on curve stomping me now. Well, Gravedigger, listen, I know you've been here before and you've been fine and everything. It's just that we do this when people get out of line. We are not believing what you said initially. Seriously, I am fully, this is me being astute. Like a couple of things I said at the beginning of the season last year where the Lakers weren't going to be good, the Nets weren't going to go far, and that the Raptors are going to do way better than anybody thought. And all three of those came true. And what I'm going to say right now, and I'm making this prediction before free agency, before the draft, before any of summer camps or anything in training camp, I'm going to tell you right now, the Raptors are going to be a top 3 Eastern team next year. And watch out. We'll be up there with Boston and Milwaukee probably. I think those will be the top 3 teams next year. But we will be one of those top 3 teams. And you need to respect that and understand that that's what's coming. And you may not believe me right now, but watch how it unfolds. Seriously, next season. It could be something very interesting in how people start looking at the Raptors starting this next year. Like they're already kind of coming around. I was like, this is a team we need to respect more, but we're going to force the league to respect us this year. Watch. We are going to force them. David's saying, all right. Happy Father's Day. Just don't start off my Saturday being a fucker. He wrote it in with the stuff, and I said it. I don't care. Yeah. See, David's right. This is supposed to be Share Love Club. This is a loving place. This is a happy, safe place. Like they put in the windows for kids when they're after school and they're scared. They can go into the house because it has a little white, yellow sign. It's a safe place. You know, this is what this is. This is a safe place and a happy place celebrating Fred Van Vleet today. So that's what it is. Tobias is saying, much respect to Fred. You never hear him causing drama off the court. Hell of a player. Yeah. Listen, all right. There was something that people tried to start up last season at the beginning of the season. Robert Misovich, this guy, Miss is the right word for his last name. He was pushing this story about Fred not signing autographs for kids at a 905 game when he was there watching it. And we don't know the whole story. We don't know why. All I will say is that me personally, I have met Fred Van Vleet in real life, in person. I met him the August before we won the championship in 2018. He was on the street corner in Kensington Market, right next to my house. And I was sitting on my porch at midnight on an August night. And I was like, it was dark too. And he's short. Nobody would see him. Nobody knew who he was because they weren't really paying attention. But I saw him, I was like, that's Fred Van Vleet over there. And I casually just got up and walked over to him and I said, hey, Fred, big fan. And he was very approachable. He did not get upset that I came towards him and started talking to him. And we had like a 5-minute conversation. I asked him if he had met Kawhi Leonard yet. I asked him about, I told him that, we really believe in him and that we think, just keep shooting, Fred, because you will make the shots. I don't care how many you miss. The shooter's got to shoot. And I know you're going to make the shots when they count. And he's like, oh, man, this guy. Get the picture with this guy, because he was so happy to hear me saying this stuff. And we got a picture taken together. And I was just like, Fred, we believe in you. Toronto loves you. And we're so happy that you re-signed with us, because he had just re-signed back with us. And this is before the championship year even started. This man had not even met Kawhi Leonard. And he was so humble and so nice to me. I'm taller than him. I stood, and I'll show you the picture of me and him. And he was just so cool. He is a great dude. And he really is all about not causing waves or controversy for our team, because he is a family man. He has good values, and he's not a knucklehead, that he values his off time away from basketball, and he uses it with family, friends, and doing things that he loves. And those things are all healthy and good and stuff like that. And none of this Miles Bridges shit going on with Fred Van Vleet. I'll tell you that right now. So yes, he's never causing drama, and he's more likely than anything keeping guys together, staying in touch, and doing things like that. So G saying, on another note, Wiggins, our Maple Jordan, was showing off the Canadian flag, and him and Steph and Aisha were singing the anthem. Yes, G, what a great Canadian moment. Honestly, can we get a heritage moment for that moment when Steph and Aisha Curry and Andrew Wiggins were singing "Oh Canada" with the championship trophy? That is so awesome. And that it really warms my heart to see Steph Curry, who is not a Canadian technically, is somebody who just went to middle school in Toronto and has Canadian ties heavy, because his wife is Canadian, Aisha's Canadian, and he really celebrates being a part of Canada culture. So in a way, Steph is kind of half Canadian in a way. I like to think that. And I love seeing Andrew Wiggins embracing his Canadianism, like him having the flag when he did the interview after the game, post-game interview with the Canadian flag on the table with him. That means a lot. That means a lot to the country of Canada. And we really appreciate you, Andrew. And hopefully Nick Nurse can make a spot for you for the 2024 Olympics. So figure out your summers, and hopefully you can be playing for Team Canada in the next Olympics, because I know that you will help us get a medal. You may be the best Canadian player in the NBA right now. Andrew Wiggins. I'm so proud of you. And thank you for representing. Tom Duke is saying to Gravedigger, blah, blah, blah. It's your grave. Don't dig it. Blue, Tatum won't be happy with himself after his finals performance. He did have some good games prior to that series, 43 versus Giannis. Yeah, I mean, Tatum's a good player. He's very talented, but I think, once again, this is the whole thing where it's the haves and the have-nots. Pascal Siakam is a have-not, and Jason Tatum is a have. And I don't necessarily agree that that is like he gets those halves for what he's done. These golden boys they anoint, like Ben Simmons, they become prima donnas. They become like what Ben Simmons became. And Jason Tatum's more like Ben Simmons to me than Pascal Siakam. The Siakam's just doing his work. He's putting in time and he's working hard and he's not getting recognition. He's not getting calls from the referees. He's everything he's gotten and accomplished is amazing because he scratched and clawed just like Fred did to get in the NBA. Well, Pascal had to scratch and claw just as much to get everything that he accomplished, whether it's all NBA, whether it's all-star, whether it's anything that he's done in his career. He has worked hard for it. And I don't think that he gets enough credit in comparison to how much credit Jason Tatum gets. That somebody on Twitter is going around this morning saying, who has won a championship in the 2016 draft? That's Pascal Siakam. And I don't think anybody else that was drafted that year has a ring. So let's just put it that way. And that's the year that Jason Tatum came out. And then on the other side of things, we have to talk about Jaylen Brown. I am sorry. This man deserves more respect. If I would respect the Celtics and the NBA more if they pushed Jaylen Brown over Jason Tatum. That Brown deserves a little more credit because honestly, he's a better player. In my honest opinion, I think Jaylen Brown is a better player than Jason Tatum. The Tatum's more talented, but Jaylen Brown does more and more efficiently. And that's why I like Jaylen Brown more. And I feel like he deserves some of the kudos they're getting. Like if they won, I really thought that Jaylen Brown maybe should have been the Larry Bird Eastern Conference Finals MVP myself. So let's see. Blue City saying still cannot get over what Boston Celtics did by taking Jason Tatum from us, and we all know Boston Celtics fans are still salty that we took Matisse Thybulle from them. Yeah, listen, in that case, I would much rather have Tatum. Like, honestly, I mean, Thybulle's an interesting defensive player and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting, like, woulda, coulda, shoulda, like in that draft. I mean, Pascal, think about it. If they did that redraft, a lot of people are putting Pascal #1 in that redraft because people are doing that right now for some reason. I don't understand why people want to go back and do that. The past is the past. You can't change it. It's like, go ahead and write your fan fiction just like you do your trade machine bull crap. This is the same thing. Oh, what if the draft had been this way instead? And they're trying to put Pascal on the Lakers or something like that. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? It's like, it is what it is. Pascal is like I said, he was one of the top players in that draft, like as far as like things, but where did he get drafted at? And look at how the general manager of the Raptors got gold so late in the first round. Holy crap. G saying David is ruthless, laughing my ass off. Hey, listen, I don't mind having a dog on the chain here to get after a trespasser. David S., you badass. But I'm glad that Gravedigger stuck around for the fun, and we're cool. We're cool. Things are civil. Gravedigger saying, it's cool, David. I'm really feeling the Canadian hospitality with a nice curb stomp. Listen, we have a bad reputation for being too nice and letting people just walk all over us. And like I said, I'm a hybrid. I'm a little bit of both sides of the border. And, I will take my American side and put it into effect for the Canadian side as I need to and stuff like that. But, I'm just glad that it's come around and everything's fine. And look at this. We've got Gravedigger who may be a Celtics fan. We're not totally sure. Not sure what fan your team is. Maybe you shouldn't tell us. It's probably better if it's ambiguous. And then we have Philly fan here also with us today. That is love. That's world peace. We can figure this out. We can maybe go to the UN or go meet with Putin and Zelensky and try and figure things out because we're figuring things out on the Raptor Freak channel this morning. Hilarious. Blue City saying, don't forget Sixers. I wonder how Karen Durant is feeling that his former team won the finals without him. Yeah, funny. Yeah, Kevin Durant. You called him Karen Durant. Listen, that's another side positive about this is that this does hurt Kevin Durant's legacy. that like, yeah, Steph winning it without him and doing this way, it does kind of make him look bad. He was rooting for the Celtics. He openly was rooting for the Celtics, Durant was. And that's kind of haterish against like former teammates and friends of his. These guys are obviously not his friends anymore. I don't know how much Draymond and Kevin Durant are cool with each other at this point. But yeah, he did not feel good about this. He did not want Golden State to win again, stuff like that. All right, Sixers fan, I'll put y'all at like fifth in the East. How about that? Fifth? I'll give you fifth, maybe fifth, maybe fourth. All right, maybe fourth. It could be possibly Milwaukee, Boston, Toronto, and Philadelphia, the top four Eastern teams next year. All right, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. We'll be up there with us. All right, see, Gravedigger saying this is off topic, but what do you guys think of the Pelicans expecting to sign Zion to a 182 million contract extension? I might have given it a little bit away. If Zion was on the Raptors, would you like the chance? No, no, no. And I'll tell you why is because I have no confidence in Zion as a pro. He hasn't proven anything on a consistent level. He has the body, he has the athleticism, this stuff, but maybe he has too much of the body. That maybe he has some Charles Barkley things that he's got to worry about. Like, because this is the thing, he could have played all last season, but he didn't. The Pelicans were fantastic without him. And you know what? It's like, why didn't he get in shape at some point over 8 months? Like, seriously, I know he was hurt, but also he was overweight. That was part of the problem. That this man is having trouble staying in a playing shape. And no, I don't want any of that. That sounds horrible. In fact, if I was the Pelicans, I wouldn't invest in him longer. I would maybe try and trade him and get assets for him and build around the guys they've got from this past year, like Ingram, Valanciunas, and now CJ McCollum. That is a really nice nucleus. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Zion was not there, and they were good without him. That, in fact, when they bring Zion back, they may take a step down because of his presence. So that's what I would say. It's like if you're an NBA player, you want to be present for when things are going good. Because if you're there and when they're going bad, it's going to kind of look like you have the effect of making things go bad. And I think that's more likely to happen with Zion at this point. That he really messed up his career not being taking to health in the beginning and getting some good years in to learn how to be a pro and to be dependable. He's not dependable to me. If anything, he could be like an injury prone guy for the rest of his career. He's going to have problems with his weight and controlling it. This is not good. This is not good. He's not the kind of guy I want on my team, especially when it didn't seem like he was working hard enough this past season to try and get back to the team. In fact, he left the team for a while in an ambiguous, weird way. He's like he's departed from the team. He wasn't even in contact with the team. He was just off and away. No, there's all kinds of red flags around there. I would not invest in him, just like Brooklyn doesn't want to invest in Kyrie. It's a similar thing. I would not invest in him. Yeah, good question, Gravedigger. And you know what? Anything NBA is on the table. It's not off topic. We will talk it. Our main focus is Fred today, but we will talk about different things. David is answering this too. Laugh out loud. No, 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 no. Toronto wouldn't take the chance, I don't think. Don't know about Pelicans, but Zion has a lot of work to do in order to get back on the court playing his best. Yep, that's it in a nutshell. That this man, he's got his waistline and stuff like that. I don't care if like Charles Barkley could do that stuff at 350 pounds. I don't know if Zion can. And it's not good. It's not good. And like I said, New Orleans may be better to move away from him and get something that fits with their nucleus that they had this year because it's really moving in the right direction. The Pelicans are getting better. And Zion may not have the right effect on their team and whether they win or not. So Tobias is saying, that's pretty cool. You got to meet Fred. For me, if I were in Toronto and if I saw him or had a chance to meet him, I'd be too shy to open my mouth and talk to him. Yeah, it took a lot of guts, and it was kind of like sketchy because it's like midnight, it's dark, it's a street corner, it's in a little bit of a shady part of town. And he did have a handler with him, but he was there to film a commercial in the barber shop across the street from my place. And he was on a break. So it was no big deal. And I didn't harass him or hang out with him for too long. I just came and said some nice things to him, got a picture taken, and left him alone. That's the thing. We got to be smart about when you approach people in public that are public figures, like Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson the other day. You got to be real smart. You got to be genuine and like non-threatening and humble and not demanding and not bothering them in the bathroom, not bothering them in the restaurant when they're eating. You want to get them at an opportune time. And I lived in Kensington at that time, and I was seeing every summer I'd see at least one NBA player in that little stretch in August before training camp starts. There would be players coming to town already before they start, and they're just doing fun things. And invariably, I would see them around Kensington. I saw Yaka Pirtle and met him that way, Fred Van Vleet, and then Terrence Ross came back and came through, and I saw him and talked to him also. So yeah, it's great when you live in a tourist area of Toronto. You will see. I saw Paul Pierce in Kensington Market once too. So yeah, you see famous people around Kensington Market often. It's crazy. Yeah. Tom Duke's saying he'd have a hard time saying something to them too. Well, I had to remember I'm much older than Fred, and like it's like I can come up to him and be like a fanboy, but I am a man who's older and like by decades, and that's part of it too. Tobias saying, I live out in Calgary, and we sure popped that champagne when we won in 2019. I love to hear this. There's a lot of noise right now about whether Toronto Raptors are Canada's team or not. There's a lot of anti-Toronto people in Canada, and I understand that. There's a certain centrist kind of mentality about Toronto that was like, oh, Toronto's the center of the world. Toronto people think they're better than us, all this kind of stuff. I understand why people feel like that in other places in Canada, because we are kind of in a focal point and all this kind of stuff. And I can understand that animosity. It's similar to how I have animosity towards the Boston Celtics. But I love hearing about people across the whole nation that did really celebrate and get behind the Raptors winning a championship. That these people that are so cynical and say that Toronto Raptors are not Canada's basketball team, they're just Toronto's and we hate Toronto, are maybe in the minority in a lot of ways. They're just an outspoken minority. And that there were a lot more of a majority of people across Canada that really celebrated and enjoyed the Raptors winning a championship. It was good for Canada no matter what. And on the download, this is why they don't want us to win another one, is because it does good things for Canada's economy. So I'm so happy to hear this, Tobias. Tobias is a Calgary Raptor Freak, and I'm glad you're holding it down in that city and province. I'll bet you run around town, you might run into the Hart family from time to time. I'll bet this man's probably ran across Bret Hart at some point. That would be somebody I might freak out and not be able to approach, because Bret Hart is probably one of my greatest, favorite, most wrestlers of all time. He's in my top 3 for sure. And if I saw Bret Hart in a room and I was like, I don't know if I can go talk to him, that's Bret the Hitman Hart. That's who I would have trouble talking to. I'm not gonna lie. Tom Duke said West Coast to East Coast. Yes, Tom, and you've got it holding it down out in the BC. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, there are people that hate the Blue Jays and hate the Raptors just because they hate Toronto. But those are Canada's teams and those professional sports. Like, you are a baseball fan. Maybe you're a Mariners fan if you're out west. Maybe you're a Yankees fan if you're close to New York State. But, most of us in Canada, if you like baseball, you do like the Blue Jays. And I would say the same thing for basketball with the Raptors in Canada. Oh, yeah. And I love all the 5-man Raptors starting lineup by Tom Duke there again. Shane saying at Tobias, I was living in Cochrane at the time. I can attest to that. It was a vibe everywhere, though. I'm sure. That's awesome. That is awesome, Shane. Like, seriously, because listen, in the city, we went buck wild here. And we just had the anniversary of the parade yesterday. And we went absolutely buck wild here. And I know my uncle and aunt in Winnipeg were going crazy too out there. And different people, even people that don't even watch basketball, like some of my family that are spread across Canada, they actually acknowledged and enjoyed the NBA championship by the Raptors in 2019. Yeah, this is really good. Tobias saying, laughing my ass off. What has Karen done since leaving Golden State? this is the thing. Karen may have this sweet spot in his career. I don't like calling him Karen, first of all, because he is Kevin, and should be respected. He's one of the greats of all time, and I like him to a lot of degree. I do agree with the nickname called Snake, though, and he did snake Oklahoma City and Golden State in some ways by doing what he did, and he gets what he gets. That he has that sweet spot in the middle of his career where he gets a couple of championships with Golden State, but nothing from before and nothing after. This Brooklyn Nets experiment is an absolute flop. I am sorry. It is. It's been a disaster since it started. This whole idea of having Kyrie and James Harden and Kevin Durant did not work. It just didn't. And that's just how it is. But in some ways, it's not totally a slight on Kevin. It's just that, he really has made poor decisions. Like if he had stayed in Golden State, he might have been on this team and stuff like that. I like that he left Golden State because they were way too powerful with him on that team. And I love the fact that once again, we beat them when they had Kevin Durant. Sure, people will say, oh, he didn't even play half the series. Well, he did play a lot of it. And he was there for a lot of the games. So don't discount that. He's one of the greatest players to ever play in the NBA. And yes, we like seeing him like kind of get cringe or feel bad about, man, Golden State just won. It's not good for me. That's all. I'm all right with that. Let's see. Tom Duke saying Fred Van Vleet proved himself being a finalist for the NBA Sixth Man of the Year award for the 2017-2018 season. Yeah. Fred has a lot of different accolades. I mean, listen, this is for real. Like the Final Four stuff we're talking about with Wichita State, the G League championship with, Pascal, the All-Star appearance, the six man getting votes for six man of the year. He got a vote for defensive team this year. Also, there's stuff about Fred. He gets recognition, and there are tons of teams in this league that will want him. Somebody asked the other day, do you think that Fred could start for any other team in the league? And I said, every single one of them. That you think that if LeBron could get Fred on the Lakers, that he would love having him as his point guard instead of Russell? I think he would. I think he would really enjoy having Fred on his team with him because he understands the caliber of competitor and just heart that Fred Van Vleet has and stuff like that. So Tobias saying, where are you now? To Shane. Shane saying, I moved back to BC. He's in Okongan. I think I said that right. Nice. And then he is also saying, I was happy to see Steph win his fourth championship and first finals MVP. I'm not afraid to say he's on one of my current favorites. Yeah, I agree with this too. I have a lot of respect for Steph Curry. People find him cocky. People find him arrogant. It annoys them, but that's usually just the people that he's beaten down. That's who he annoys. I love the man. Honestly, I think he's one of the greats, and I will champion Steph. For all kinds of different reasons and stuff like that in arguments. Like he's now in the same level kind of with LeBron as far as getting championships. And, I want to put him in the conversation with LeBron in some ways. People will be saying, you're crazy. LeBron's done so much other stuff. And it's like, well, come on, really think about it. Both of them have impacted the NBA in its current state in major ways, sure. But Steph Curry changed it in a different kind of way than LeBron did. LeBron changed it in a way that a normal superstar would change it. But Steph Curry changed it in a way that it may never change back. That the three-point shot will become such an important part of the NBA that you have to be a center and make three-pointers. That you cannot have anybody on your team that can't shoot threes. Everybody's got to be able to shoot threes. All right, I like this. This is a good question by Gravedigger. Isaiah Thomas, and we're talking about Detroit Pistons bad boys, Isaiah Thomas, not Isaiah Thomas from Boston. Shouldn't be involved in conversations. Or Steph Curry, who you starting at point guard. If it's between Bad Boys Isaiah, or Boston Celtics Isaiah Thomas from recent time, it's Steph Curry over either one of them. Isaiah was a fantastic player, and I'm not trying to slight Zeke. I love Isaiah. Isaiah was one of my favorite players as a little kid. I was a big Detroit Pistons Bad Boys fan, and he was very special. Like being 6'1" and be able to score the way he did in traffic in the lane, and also such a dead-eye good shooter. Like he was a clutch shooter for somebody his height, and like what he did for helping Detroit win those two championships in the end of the 80s. listen, Isaiah is fantastic, but Steph is on a whole other level in different ways. And Steph has 4 rings. Isaiah only has 2. So I will say Steph Curry in this one right here. David is saying Fred Van Vleet with a smile. Yeah, he wants to play Fred instead. And I could get behind that also, just because I'm a company man. I stick with my guys. Tobias saying most of us hate the MSM out of in Toronto, not the you're talking about the Maple Leafs. You're talking about the Maple Leafs. Most of us hate the Maple Leafs out of Toronto, but not the Raptors. I can get behind that. I can get behind that. Yeah. I understand. Yeah. Hockey, in the hockey world, that's where the hate towards Toronto comes because the Maple Leafs are get treated like the New York Yankees. They get treated like the Boston Celtics. They get treated like the Golden Boys, and they haven't done jack shit to deserve it. The way they get coverage on the news, the Sports Center, and stuff like that, the Leafs are always front and center. And what the fuck have they done to deserve it in the last 50 years? So, yeah, that I can get behind because, like, I have animosity towards the Maple Leafs myself also. I know you're trying to say Maple Leafs, even though you said MSM is MLM. That's the Maple Leafs. So Gravedigger's talking about Shawn Michaels. Okay, here's another one where we go at each other. Shawn Michaels gave Bret Hart that sweet chin music. This is where I can tell somebody, like, it's like the Beatles and the Stones. Either you're a Beatles guy or you're a Stones guy. Either you're a Bret guy or you're a Shawn guy. And I'm definitely a Bret guy, and it looks like Gravedigger's a Shawn guy. I respect Shawn Michaels in a lot of ways. Like, he was fantastic in his early days in AWA and WCCW and in Memphis and different places like that when he was still teaming up with Marty Jannetty as the Midnight Rockers and stuff like that. When he kicked Marty through the barbershop window and went his own way, that's kind of where I departed from him also because I thought he was a fantastic tag team wrestler. And that his younger stuff in the 80s is fantastic. And yeah, I stopped watching wrestling really when Shawn was in his heyday and he was like the man in WWF. So I missed that whole time. And, it was very USA versus Canada. Shawn did that whole thing where he took the Canadian flag and he put it up his nose. Very disrespectful. If it was in the reverse and there was a Canadian guy that did that to the American flag, probably would be getting death threats like crazy. Somebody probably would have came after Bret if he had done the reverse as far as put the American flag up his nose, because it was super disrespectful. And a lot of patriotic Canadians got really mad at Shawn Michaels for doing that. So, but it's fun to talk a little bit of wrestling. I'm a huge wrestling fan. In fact, I'm a historian. I know a lot about the history of wrestling. And Shawn's not one of my favorites. I'll tell you that right now, but I do respect him as being one of the best in-ring performers ever. But I think in a lot of ways, he's a piece of shit as a human being. Even with his born again family life now and stuff like that, he was so horrible in the 90s, the way he acted. And Vince McMahon enabled him to be like that. Oh, yeah. And we're seeing that kind of culture coming out with what's going on with Vince right now with his scandal. We can only imagine the ugly, awful things that Shawn Michaels did backstage when he was a user and doing really awful things to people, just being an asshole and sewering people's careers and stuff like that. Let's see. Tobias saying, I'm not a big fan of Bret, to be honest. For me, it's Adam Edge Copeland from Toronto, baby. The Edge is from Toronto, still wrestling right now. I'm very proud of Edge also. I think that he's a great Canadian wrestler, and I'm proud of him and Christian. Christian is his brother, his buddy. They're both great. And let's see. I love the Jays as well. Okay, so Tobias is a fan of the Blue Jays. The Nets must have been a shit show. Behind the scenes, they had to have been this whole season. Like the fight and the push-pull with Kyrie over his vaccine status and where he could play and stuff like that. That alone was probably such a huge distraction and problem. I was saying it all season that Kyrie is killing their chances this season because of his half-assery. Literally half-ass, half being there. And that, forget about the stuff with Harden trying to do different things, stuff like that. He was actually discontented on the down low also. And yeah, there's all kinds of issues there in the Nets. And I don't even think Steve Nash is necessarily a good coach. I love Steve Nash. He's maybe the greatest Canadian player ever in the NBA history, but he may not be a good coach is what I'll say right now. We haven't really proven him to be a good coach. He's just had good superstars on his team. And we don't know how he would be. Like, how would he be? Part of the reason why Boston lost this week is because of the experience, is that Udoka wasn't a rookie head coach. And then at some point in game 6 on Thursday night, the Celtics unraveled. in the middle of the game, and they looked bad. Like they did not have their shit together. They were fucking up in different ways on the court that didn't look like a team that belonged in the finals. They looked like a team that was struggling to figure out who the fuck they were and what they were doing. And that is partly rookie head coach and young players that haven't gotten to that point against a team that knows it all, that's been through every single situation, that has a coach named Steve Kerr who knows what he's doing. And that was a big part of the reason why the Warriors won the finals, is the experience factor. I'll say that right now. Shane Waters is saying, at Tobias, in my opinion, any team that Kyrie is on will have disrupted chemistry. Man can ball, but I would pass on him in 100% of the time. Yes. There's some NBA fans that really value superstars over everything, like Kyrie. Whereas there's other NBA fans that realize that they bring a lot to the table, that some of it's very negative. That I don't want knuckleheads on the Raptors, that we keep up a sign at the board saying no knuckleheads on this basketball team north of the border. We just don't have them. And that's part of the reason why our team is so copacetic and cohesive, is that we don't have knuckleheads on our team disrupting it. And that Kawhi, in a way, was a knucklehead to a degree because he wanted special treatment. Well, they had to deal with it in a special way that season. And Kyle Lowry was pissed off at Kawhi for having that special treatment. He said, we're a team in Toronto. We all stay together. DeMar and I did everything with all the guys, 1 through 15. We didn't separate ourselves like LeBron does or like you do, Kawhi, and that they had to figure that out. Well, to have a guy like that separates himself from the team, and then he has an ego problem, then he's going out there and spouting misinformation. He's out there being a flat earther and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a whole kit and caboodle of dysfunction right there. And that's part of the secret to Masai and Bobby's success, is that we've kept a really strong mandate for character as far as who we acquire and stuff like that. I don't think Kyrie would even be on our radar because of who he is and his character and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really good, and it's smart team building. And as far as I'm concerned, because you could have the most badass team on paper, the greatest team as ever, and it could be just a dumpster fire like the Lakers, it could be a dumpster fire like the Nets this year. That's what I'm saying. You want a solid foundation. David's couldn't agree more. Tobias agrees. All right, we've gotten a second. We've gotten a third. It's law in the Raptors nation. No knuckleheads. No knuckleheads. That's what we say as the fans. All right, yeah, we're all saying hard pass. Kyrie doesn't want to pay to live on the earth. He tweeted that. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, he's weird. Oh, Tobias saying mainstream media, not the Maple Leafs. Okay. Yeah, the mainstream media from Toronto is very Toronto-centric. It's unfortunately just that way, and it does breed contempt for the city of Toronto from the rest of Canada because it's so centric. You're right. David is saying, Kyrie is such a mess. It's amazing. Honestly, if this man had a reality show, it could be very interesting. It could be like a Kardashians kind of show where you're just like, wow, this guy is a dumpster fire just in his life walking around. You see the behind the scenes. Like if the Nets had open gym, it'd be very interesting to see the Kyrie Irving kind of parts, to see how he's acting behind the scenes. Tobias saying, I was in high school last time the Leafs got out of the first round. Yeah. Listen, that was what, in the early 2000s? I was working at the building then. That's like Matt Sundin era, Steve Thomas, Ty Domi, Curtis Joseph, that era. Yeah. Tom Duke saying, I was captain of the high school team before Steve Nash, a couple years older than him. Wow. Tom Duke, did you go to the same high school as Steve Nash? That's fantastic. I've met Steve Nash also. He was a good friend of mine for a little while, for a year in the early 2000s when he was single and he was playing for the Dallas Mavericks. He was dating one of my coworkers at the Velvet Underground when I was working there as a bar back. And he'd come into the bar after we closed and wait for her to get off work. And we would hang out. And I'd pick his brain about things about the NBA. I was asking him about Dennis Rodman and playing for Mark Cuban and Dirk Nowitzki and all that kind of stuff at that time. And Steve was cool. He hated playing with Rodman. He was an asshole, is what Steve said. Rodman's an absolute asshole, is what he told me himself. But yeah, Nash is such a great dude. And Tom, that is badass. If you were a predecessor to Steve Nash at his high school and you were playing on that team too, that's cool. So Tom was playing on basketball team out there. Tom, I'm learning more and more about you. I have so much respect for you already. And now it's just filling in the blanks and I'm finding out more. And that's really cool, Tom. Like, I want to know more about your basketball career now, Tom. Forget about Steve Nash. Tom saying, I was built better for rugby, but like basketball more. That's awesome. Yeah, okay. I know the kind of basketball player you are. You're one of these tough guys that will bowl over anybody. Yeah, you'll go down the paint and you will just bully the ball, some people, to get the basket. I know a rugby frame in basketball, what that looks like. Oh, yeah. Um, Steve was different from the start. Yeah, he was really big on soccer. Like, he was a really good soccer player as a young person. So he had a lot of skills that in his basketball game were informed by his soccer acumen. And that's part of the reason why he's such a great passer in the NBA, because he could use his hands. Tom Duke saying, first time I saw him was the first time he tried kicking a rugby ball and was nailing 50-yard field goals, 60-yard field goals with both feet at 14 years old. Wow. So, Tom, you really were up close with Steve Nash and stuff like that. Yeah, he's just a great guy. Like I said, he did actually know me. Like, there was a day when we were working at the Air Canada Center, Stevie Roots and I were running the Mr. Sub stand, and it was a Mariah Carey concert. And Steve Nash was at that concert, and he came around the corner in the concourse, and he saw me working at the sub stand. He came up and he said, "Hey, Lexi," and he came up to me and started talking to me. He's like, "Hey, what's going on? How you doing?" I was like, "I'm just working, Steve. I'm just making subs for the concert and stuff like that." He's like, "This is a great concert. Mariah is so good." He's talking to me, and then he left. And Stevie Roots goes, "That was Steve Nash. How do you know Steve Nash?" And I was like, "Oh, I know him from the club and stuff like that." It was pretty cool. Shane saying, "Tom, you're a legend. Love it." Yeah, Tom, I want more personal stories from your encounters with Steve Nash. For sure. If you remember any more stuff about you and Steve Nash, maybe save them for other streams. But yeah, as they come to you over time, please share them. Tom saying, no, not really, Shane. The grade 10 team would whoop us until we played bully ball. Okay, so you would play against them and they beat you, and then until you really used your size. I like that. That's hilarious. Tobias saying, I'm more of an Oilers fan myself. Yes, I know we got swept versus Colorado, but it was a good run. Man, I was so rooting for you guys. Like, honestly, every time it gets down to the last Canadian team, they have my full support, even if it's the Habs. I hate the Habs, but I just want that Lord Stanley back in Canada. So, man, Oilers, such a great history in their franchise. I have a lot of respect for Edmonton Oilers and their team, and I was really rooting for y'all. But now I'm rooting for the Lightning, because in some ways the Lightning are my team because of being from Florida. And I have a lot of friends that are really big Lightning fans, and I like to see them happy too. And hey, it's nice to see a three-peat. If we see a three-peat by the Tampa Bay Lightning this year, that'd be fantastic. So that's who I'm rooting for. Beat the Avalanche. Yes, sir. They're a team that used to be in Canada and not anymore. Tom Duke saying Steve brought Dirk up to Victoria his first year and we got smashed. Dirk was hilarious. So Tom Duke has been going out to the bars with Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash. This is fantastic, Tom. This is hilarious. I can just imagine the dumb things in his German accent he might have said when he was smashed. Dirk Nowitzki and the funny shit that happened. Hilarious. Hilarious. Tom is a legend. Yes, Tobias, he is. Tom saying, come on, once upon a time. Listen, it's all history. I mean, I met Magic Johnson in 1994, and I'm not going to downplay that. It was a great moment in my life, meeting Magic Johnson, meeting Steve Nash, meeting Fred Van Vleet. I've met some of the greatest point guards in the history of the NBA, and I'm very proud of that. I met Muggsy, too. I've met some of the greats at point guard. And Tom, I want to hear more of your stories. Don't downplay them, even though they're ancient history, as you put it. I think that is absolutely amazing and fantastic. All right, let's see. All right. Shane Waters is saying, Tobias, I think McDavid must have been hurt. He lost his step. Smith also did not show up. That surprised me. Man lives for these moments. Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad. I didn't pay a close enough attention. It was just really hoping and rooting that the Oilers would win. Tobias is saying Connor McDavid and Leon, unbelievable players this past postseason. Well, McDavid has had the hype and all this kind of stuff. It's good to see that he's really delivering on his long time, number one status and being in the league for a while. He's maturing finally and getting somewhere with his team, other than just like being a good player on a team that's not so good. Tom saying Steve's whole family were talented. His brother Marty played for Tottenham and the Whitecaps. His dad too played pro and coached Canada. Yeah, very athletic team. Very good family, Canadian family, Steve Nash. Tom Deuce saying Lightning versus Avalanche is a good matchup. So we like the Stanley Cup Finals. Gravedigger saying it's pretty crazy. Steve Nash has multiple MVPs, but players like Shaq, Kobe, and Hakeem only have one. I wonder if the MVPs voters are from Canada. Yeah, that is a weird thing. And you're right, Gravedigger, to an extent. I don't want to slight Steve Nash because he is a Canadian hero, and I know he deserves at least one of those MVPs. But you know what? You're right in some ways. I don't know if he necessarily deserved the second one. At that period of time in the NBA was a weird time, and that like he was doing some amazing things. Don't get me wrong. Like there was some stuff that he was doing with his passing and his connection to Amari at that time was just absolutely insane. He had Sean Marion around too at that time, I believe. And yeah, that Suns team was really working well. But yeah, it doesn't seem right in some ways. But maybe also part of it is that you're saying Shaq and Kobe, they were kind of fighting with each other for accolades because they're on the same team. Similar to what's happened to Steph, because Iguodala got the first Finals MVP out of the Warriors championships, and that was really weird to me. Like that one didn't totally make sense to me at that point. And then Durant got the two in the middle, and now Steph's just finally getting his Finals MVP. Now, I don't want to slight Steve. He's a two-time MVP, and that does sound weird in the way you put it, Gravedigger. I won't lie. But Steve does deserve at least one. I don't know if he deserved the second one. I'll give that. That's me being a total homer for Steve Nash and somebody who like really likes him a lot, being honest. Tobias saying, I've met Glenn Anderson, Lanny McDonald, Ken Holland, Goldberg, Brent Butt, and Brent Butt from Corner Gas. Tobias, that's a pretty good, interesting list of famous people. Lanny McDonald, that's very cool. Bill Goldberg, that's pretty cool. Like, I honestly, if you guys want to share your list of names of famous people that you've met, that's awesome. I've met a lot of wrestlers and basketball players. Those are the two kinds of people that I've met the most of in my life because those are my favorite two things. Is those two things. I've met Rob Van Dam. I've met Lex Luger. I met Kurt Hennig before he died. I met Bobby the Brain Heenan. I've met Conan. I've met Kevin Sullivan. I've met, if you're talking wrestlers, there's a lot that I've met. Missy Hyatt, lots of different wrestlers. Let's see. Shane Waters is saying it, Tom. I remember watching Marty play. My pops and I had Whitecaps tickets all those years ago. That's cool. It's Marty Nash. Tom Duke saying, right on, Shane. Tobias saying, I met Goldberg when he was filming his movie Santa Sleigh, which was filming in the city I was living in. Cool. Yeah, I didn't get to meet Goldberg, but I was around the Air Canada Center working in it when they were filming Ready to Rumble, that David Arquette movie with DDPs in it and stuff like that. That was a WCW movie, and they made David Arquette the champion. Well, they closed the arena and they filmed a lot of the shots in the movie in the Air Canada Center when nobody was in there, and I was in there because I was prepping to work, and I stood in the side and I saw Goldberg in the ring with nobody in the ring, and it was a Canyon. Chris Canyon was the stunt coordinator, and he had a wig on like he was DDP or somebody who he was fighting, and he was throwing him around the ring, and they were filming the movie at that time. Really, really cool stuff. Seeing that kind of stuff with Goldberg and stuff. I have a weird feeling about Goldberg. I like him in some ways, but in some ways I hate him because he did end Brett's career, and also he's just kind of he got too much that he didn't deserve in some ways. Like he really didn't respect the business in the right kind of way and stuff like that. But he was an actual phenomenon. He had chemistry and charisma out the wazoo as far as like his look and the way he went about things, stuff like that. But they really built him up and stuff like that. So Gravedigger saying, I did the Stone Cold Stunner to my 7th grade teacher and got suspended for 3 days. All right, Gravedigger, you've come full circle. You came from like the beginning where you were telling us we need to be worried about our team and all sad and stuff like that, to telling us that you got in trouble for putting the stunner on your 7th grade teacher. That is honestly, you're badass in some ways. Like that's your teacher. You didn't even say a classmate. That's crazy. It's like, what did you do the kick and everything? Did you do the kick and then turn? And like, if you did that, I'm like, bravo, man. I mean, it's like, listen, this is like maybe no, don't abuse your teachers. But if you did it where they didn't really get hurt, it probably was hilarious. Like, I'll bet that your class, if you did it in front of the class, they probably went wild and fell out of their seats like crazy. And it may have been worth that 3-day suspension because you may have been, getting a legend named in your name at that school. It's like, Greg Digger did the Stone Cold Stunner on Mrs. Hayes. Oh my gosh. I was like, whoever it was, I don't know. That is hilarious. See, David, we come full circle with him. Now we're laughing at what Gravedigger is saying. That's hilarious, man. Honestly, that takes some guts. Honestly, you saw that horrible Stone Cold Stunner he did to Vince McMahon the other day? Oh my gosh, a couple of weeks ago or months ago, when at WrestleMania he did a stunner to him and Vince, how bad it was. Oh my gosh, really bad. Tom Duke saying, have a good friend who lived in the White House with Obama. Wow, this is really getting interesting. And in October, I went to a birthday party he threw for my friend in Washington, D.C. Obama was his best man, so we go back a bit now. Holy crap, Tom. He's got all these connections that we need to know about. Tom Duke, all right, he's been holding that Rolodex close to his chest, and we need to know the names that are on your phone now, Tom, because you have connections, I realize now. Tobias saying, I did some of the training and spiked my neck. Now I have nerve damage years later. So, Tobias, you were learning how to be a wrestler. This is something I always wondered about for myself because, like, I'm about 6'4", 6'5", and like I'm agile. I'm real agile. Like, if I'd gotten into wrestling, if I had been smart in the business that anybody could do it, you don't have to be on steroids. If you just know how to move and take a fake punch and act like you're getting hurt, you could have been a wrestler. But the industry secrets were so guarded in my formative years. There's no way I could have done it. But somebody saw me at the club working one night at the Velvet Underground, and it was a wrestler, and he saw me busting the floor and how I was moving around with my size. And they're like, dude, have you ever thought about being a wrestler? And I'm like, no, there's no way I could do that. I'm so skinny. My arms are too skinny. He's like, no, you could do it. And I didn't understand because I wasn't smart to the business at that time. That maybe I could have been like Barry Windham, like a 6'5", really agile, good wrestler that can do all the selling and moving and all that kind of stuff. But man, I will never know because I never tried. But Tobias tried it out, and it is the kind of thing where you got to be real tough because you're going to get bumps and bruises. You're going to get hurt. And you got to be willing to put a lot of damage on your body and have to deal with it in older age. Like, that's the thing with these older wrestlers. They get older and they have so many health problems with their bodies in all kinds of different ways. Stuff like that. Hulk Hogan is currently like 3 inches shorter than he was when he wrestled because his back is so compacted from all of the surgeries and problems. You come up to call Hulk Hogan today and you'll be like, you're not that tall. You're not that big. Well, it's because his back shrunk since he used to wrestle because of all the damage he did to himself. David's saying, we need to start calling you Lord Tom. Lord Tom? I don't know if you guys want to do that. I guess we got to start trying out nicknames for Tom now, not just Scotty Barnes. We'll have nicknames for Tom here too. Tom likes it. Duke works. We say Duke Duke. We say Duke Tom. Duke Tom Duke. The Duke of BC, Tom Duke. He's the Duke. Tobias says he's only 5'9". Well, listen, you could go wrestle for AEW from the looks of things right now because they have everybody out there. You don't have to look like a wrestler anymore to be in wrestling, apparently. You look at people like Orange Cassidy and whatchamacallit, that little Marco Stunt or whatever his name is and stuff like that. David's saying we should have like a Raptor Freak preseason party or something, meet at a pub and go to a preseason game or something. I like this idea, David, completely. Yes, we can do this. Anybody who's in Toronto, we can do a real meetup at some point near the beginning of the season. I think he's got it exactly right. Maybe we go to a preseason game. We all get tickets and we all go together. I know Raymond's here in town. I know that other people have moved here from different cities in the last year and would like to go with us. Sue's here. Maybe we can get Monique to come too, stuff like that. I'm all about that, David. If you're in the GTA and you want to be a part of this, we'll get this organized for preseason as we get closer, for sure. Shane's saying, grew up in Whistler, worked on a trapeze. Countless celebs came through with their kids. My favorite celeb interaction was making drunk friends with Matt LeBlanc. Walked for munchies and pissed in the bushes. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Matt LeBlanc, that's awesome. Shane, that's awesome. And you worked on a trapeze? Holy crap, that's something I would never do. I'm afraid of heights. I will not deal with the trapeze. Even if there's a real good net or any kind of airbag, you ain't getting me up there. And it's kind of funny you said that because we're trying to get Cirque du Soleil tickets right now here in Toronto. My girlfriend and I, we're going to go see Cirque du Soleil for her birthday. So we're going to go see some trapeze artists. Tobias saying, my wrestling trainer said if I kept going, I could have been Christopher Daniels style wrestler. That's high praise. Seriously. That means that you had some real agility and some real, some chops. That is a very good compliment. I'm not going to lie, Tobias. If you were going in that direction, because Daniels is really good, really good. Tobias saying Marco is no longer part of the company, I believe. Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, I listened to Jim Cornette, and the things he said about him were hilarious. Like, I forget what he called them, but it's really funny. Tom Duke saying West Coast crew too. Tobias saying, I wish I could go Toronto. I've never been. Make it happen, Tobias, somehow, some way. Listen, we've had 2 years of pandemic. We've had to stay home. We've had a rough life in different ways. If you can figure it out and stuff like that, and you get here. Listen, I've had this open standing invite to anybody from my friends in Florida that if they make it to Toronto, they got a place to stay here. And in fact, I've even said in the past, if somebody comes to Toronto, I will even buy them a Raptors ticket and take them to the Raptors game. So if you can get here, Tobias, I will help you get your dream to come true. You get to Toronto, you take care of the travel to get here. I'll get you to a Raptors game if it's during the season. And I'll even try and help you figure out a place to stay. If it works with you staying here with me, that's possible also. But my place isn't that big. My brother was just here and it was really crowded and I didn't really enjoy it. But we can try and figure this out. If you can get here and, you want to spend some time in Toronto, Raptor Freak will be your tour guide and we'll go to a game. I promise you. Let's see. Yeah, Tom's saying that's crazy about the trapeze stuff. Tobias saying he stopped in Pearson, he's had some time in the airport, but that's it. He didn't get to leave it. He was just flying through. Shane saying at Tom, we are watching at least one game together this upcoming season. That's awesome. You guys are out in the BC. I like to see a Raptor Freak West Coast contingency, the in Toronto contingency. We have contingencies in other cities. Maybe in Calgary, you guys start one. Maybe you guys start one in other cities out east. Wherever you are and you're Raptor Freak, reach out and see who else is there. And maybe we can start having get-togethers in real life and hanging out and stuff like that. It'll be great. Raymond Jacobs here. David, great idea. I'll provide refreshments, Lex. Wink, wink. I do not drink, but I will smoke. I know Raymond Jacob has the good refreshments for me as a marijuana farmer. Yes, I will come there. Just bring me a good sativa, Raymond. I only smoke sativa. I cannot smoke indica. It makes me depressed. So I'm all about that sativa. It's my life. Oh, yeah. Tom Duke saying, Tobias, let's go to the 2023 finals when it's in TO. Hell yeah, Shane. You guys are right. Listen, if we get close to this again, y'all need to make it happen. Come here and come to a finals game with me like I did in 2019, game 1 against the Golden State Warriors, where we beat them, where we all stood up and sang the Canadian anthem. The whole building sang it together with Doug Tranquata. We all sang it, and you could hear it through the TV. Come and get that experience. Come with me, and let's go all together. We'll get seats together, and we'll do this real time. And it just and bask in the love for our team. Hell yeah, I love it. Tom Duke's saying they can hitchhike over here. Listen, if you guys can get over here any kind of way, maybe there's still a trucker convoy. Maybe you guys can act like you want to come and protest with them and maybe just hitch a ride with some truckers that are on their way because they hate Trudeau. And you guys will just say, yeah, we hate Trudeau too. And you get in the semi and then you get to Toronto, you get out and say, see ya, punks. Ha ha, we didn't really care about Trudeau. We just wanted to get to Toronto. Ha ha ha. Do that. Yeah, that'd be a funny way to get here. Don't just hitchhike, Tom Duke. I know you're a big guy because you got a rugby build, but still, it's still dangerous. All right. Tobias saying, I'm broke as fuck to get a plane ticket. Toronto to Montreal via Calgary. Yeah, listen, figure it out, man. Take a train, take a bus. There's different ways to get here. The planes are maybe, that's not the best way to all the time. Sometimes it's really nice to take a cross-country train ride across Canada. It can be very fun and actually kind of affordable. You'd be shocked how much a train ride could be across Canada. It takes a little longer, but you know what? You get a lot of fun of seeing the whole countryside and seeing the real Canada right across. Stuff like that. Tom Duke is saying it. Raptor Freaks, unite. I'm all about it. Raymond Jacobs saying we could also maybe do a live watch along with us all on Zoom, FaceTime. Maybe. I mean, it depends. Are we going to do it in the arena when we're at the game, or are you talking about doing it at a get together at a bar or something like that where we're all watching together? I don't know. Hey, I'm open to all kinds of ideas and brainstorming. Raymond Jacob, we can see how the logistics work. Tobias saying, I also have never been to an NBA game. See, that's what I'm saying. We get some check marks checked off for some people. Come to the city and listen. Raptor Freak Lexi Odds will do his best to make sure that you're taken care of in whatever way we can. I have different friends around town. We'll figure this out. All right. CC saying, anybody else hear about Jalen Brunson in Toronto? He posted an IG story yesterday. That's interesting. What is his connection to Toronto and why was he here, CC? Does he say why he was here or anything? Was he just here visiting? Maybe he's a tourist and maybe he's just like, Toronto, you may be the kind of city I'd like to play for. And that's why I'm here kind of hanging out. He's on Portland, right? Isn't he on Portland? I don't remember exactly where he is out west. But, his father played in the NBA and stuff like that. I don't know. That's very interesting. Maybe I'll go investigate this after the stream. Thank you, Cece, for the news. Let's see. Tom Duke is saying, Cece, wow, can't even imagine that addition. Great player, though. That's interesting. Raymond saying, surprise, Lex. Sativa is a picker-upper. I could imagine you firing off some deep philosophical talk. I like both hybrids. Indica to help fall asleep. Yeah, it's just the way I am. Like I'll smoke earlier in the day. I don't like smoking later at night necessarily. I don't need it to go to sleep. It's really more that I like to function and be able to do everything. And that's why. And it's also that I guess for some reason, when I smoke indica, I really do get depressed. Like I get in my own head and get really kind of like down. So even hybrids, if they're kind of a good percentage indica, they will mess with me. So I really need a straight sativa as best as I can. David's saying, yeah, like real world meetup. Like I've been on Zoom for 2 years. Time to get out. Exactly. Exactly. Like I went to this concert this week and it was just like, whoa, whoa, I am not in my house. I am not having to be home. And, that's how people feel right now. So, like, take that energy and come to Toronto. Come to Toronto. That's what I'm saying. CC saying, Tom, I don't know why he's here. No one knows why he was here. Nobody knows why. Maybe he's here and filming an Adam Sandler movie for the NBA or something like that. And maybe he has some family or somebody that he maybe he's dating a Canadian girl, a Toronto girl. I don't know. There could be anything. I'm going to go research this and figure this out because I want to know. Okay, he's in Dallas. That's right. He's in Dallas. David's exactly right. He's like one of the point guards in Dallas, and he's actually a starter. He starts next to Luka. Luka's kind of the point guard, and he's kind of like a point guard size guy, but he's really the shooting guard. Yeah, that's right. That's how it is. That's very interesting. Like, I don't know. This trade with Christian Wood, did that shake up things with Brunson where he might want to be in Toronto or something? I don't know. I don't see that. Maybe it's Goran's writing on the wall. Goran Dragic is going to be a Maverick. And that Brunson's like, I don't want to have anything to do with this guy. And I want to go where he wasn't wanting to be going. And that's Toronto. Oh, yeah. CC saying it was on Raptors Twitter. It was a pic on King Street with CN Tower in the background. It may be that he's just being a tourist. Like if he's down there on King Street, that sounds like he's at the restaurants and the bars and just doing some sightseeing, especially if he's got the CN Tower in his picture. That's very interesting, though. We will have to dig a little deeper and see what his motives for why he was here. Tobias saying, as long as there's good beer, I'll be happy. I'm not much of a smoker. Hey, we'll take care of that for you for sure. Of course, we got good beer here in Toronto. We can find it. There'll be all kinds of different places to get it. Tom Duke saying on Rap's Twitter, what? Wow, can't believe you brought up Moron Tragic. Well, it's just kind of more because the Dallas situation. We know he probably will go there. It is what it is. Grave Digger is saying, I got to go, Raptor Freak. Honestly, he deleted the message. Oh, you deleted it. Okay, good. Maybe he said something I didn't want to hear, and Tom saw it and he caught it. He threw a wrench at him. All right. Thanks, Tom, for throwing the wrench. Thanks, Grave Digger, for being here and telling us about stone cold stunning your teacher in school and getting suspended for 3 days. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Listen, kids, don't try this at home. Doing wrestling moves on people in real life is not smart. You should not be doing a power driver to your little sister because you could really hurt her. Seriously, these are trained professionals that get trained to do these wrestling moves. So please don't try this at home. I just had to do the old PSA. Shane Waters saying, great stream today. I got to go out in a few hours for work. Hope to see y'all tomorrow. Yeah, Shane, we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to do a season review since the NBA season just ended. We're going to talk about the NBA and the state of the NBA after the 2022 season. Was there things that happen in this season that are moving in the positive direction? Are there things moving in a negative direction in the NBA? Let's talk about that tomorrow. The 2022 NBA season. How did it go? How do you think it went? Was it entertaining? Was it fun? What are the things that they need to improve about the NBA for next season? That's your Sunday special report tomorrow, talking about the NBA season and the positives and negatives about it. All right, let's see. Tobias saying Air Canada Center would be fun to tour. Yeah, and you know what? If you go there with me, you'll go with the right person because I know all the secret passages. Because I worked there for 5 years and I've gone in all the employee places. I've gone in all kinds of different places. I know that building like the back of my hand. I really know that building. In fact, I tell people this all the time that Scotiabank Arena, the Air Canada Center, is my favorite building built in the whole entire world ever. That is the one place. I have even told Stevie Roots that if I die, you go ahead and cremate me and you spread my ashes on that building somehow, some way. I know that people will be like, don't do that. But if you can get up on top of the Gardner and just spread them over the side in between the Gardner and the Air Canada Center, I'll be very happy. And all that dirt and dust and grime from all the traffic and the soot, just mix me in right there because that is where I belong, honestly, because I love that building so much and I want to be next to it. So I know it's not good to spread ashes publicly in different places, but if on the download somebody could do that for me down the road, that would be fantastic because that's exactly where I want to be. I know that you couldn't do it inside the building. I wouldn't want that. Just put me outside the building. That would be fine. Oh, yeah. I know it's pretty grim what I just said, but anyway. David's saying, what did blank say before he ran away? I don't know. Who cares? He's probably just making a little snippy comment at the end. And Tom Duke got the wrench at him. He rip torn him right before I got the read it off my lips. And in some ways, I'm glad Tom Duke did. I'm glad. I don't want to know what he said. I honestly don't. And you know, all right, he's ready for tomorrow. What time tomorrow? It's the same time every day, Gravedigger. It's 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day. You can catch me every morning. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Every single morning, right up on into the season, and I'll keep going in the season too. So yeah, and Tuesday we do trivia. So maybe you want to come and play trivia with G. We're starting a new season, stuff like that. All right, let's see. Yeah, 9:30 is always the time, guys. I just made it set that. If you guys want to watch my stream, it's at 9:30 every single day. Tom Duke's saying, let's go, Lex. You know, usually you are the best part of my day. Oh, Tom, that's nice to say. Seriously. I mean, listen, I just wanted to have a place for positive Raptor fans, fans that aren't cynics, fans that don't dump on our players like they've done to Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, DeMar DeRozan, Fred Van Vleet over the years, that we need a force inside our fan nation that is fighting the good fight for what we believe in and what we want. Just like Celtics Nation has people out there pushing their spin and their side of things and their perspective and putting their guys out in blast to try and get awards and stuff like that. We need that kind of force for our nation too. And that is what the Raptor Freak cult is all about. We're not just fans. We're not just fanatics. We are freaks about the Toronto Raptors. And that is why we do what we do. And we are the guard, the standby to stand there by our guys and protect them and defend them in all corners and parts of the social media globe. And that's what we are doing here. Yeah, that's what we're doing. 9:30 to Gravedigger. David S. is saying, I agree. This channel is the best start to my day for sure. All right, David. I love hearing that too also. We'll wrap it up soon. We're going to get to 2 hours in a second. I don't want to go too long. Tobias saying, I loved Rogers Center in Edmonton. I know it's a mall now, but I'd love to check out classic Maple Leaf Garden. Yeah, that's a fun, interesting place to see. It's a Loblaws now, Tobias. It's a Loblaws. They have a grocery store in the Maple Leaf Gardens at this point. Half of it is a grocery store, and then the other half, they still have a rink in there. And it's the Ryerson women's hockey team practices there. So there is still, the structure is there. It's still a very iconic part of the street of College Street here in Toronto. It's really, really cool to go and see it. And like you can go inside it and see some of the old original stuff about it, but it has been fixed and changed into a grocery store. So it is very weird. It's very weird. CC saying at David, I agree too. To start my morning on here every day. All right, CC, I love that. I love hearing all this from you guys. Gravedigger saying, if you want to give me a wrench, I won't make a big deal out of it. We're not going to give you a wrench. We'll throw a wrench at you. It's just like dodgeball. It's like you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball. It's like that. It's basically that. It's rip torn. Tom Duke is rip torn. And he's telling you, Gravedigger, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. And it looks like you're dodging the wrench okay today because you're still here. Like, honestly, we've had a couple problems with people this week coming in here. We had a Philly fan that was not like Blue City, that was very, very, wrong and coming in here and saying some things. And I had to have a little standoff with him. So we're a little on warning for any other Fan Nation fans coming in here and poking the bear. And that we have wrenches on people here for that purpose. And that if it gets too sewered into like that kind of stuff on here instead of the stuff we like to talk about, then the wrenches should be thrown. In fact, if somebody, I would say this, wrench holders, there's somebody who comes in and they have like 3 to 5, like in between that range, 3 to 5 incendiary comments that really aren't going anywhere. And you know what I'm talking about. Just wrench them even before I get to them. I know you guys are lenient. You like to see this fireworks and the sparks fly. And that's why you let it go. But I appreciate my wrench guys. And honestly, I appreciate you also, Gravediggers, because we need both sides of the story and we need to be able to fight the information war, and we have to respect each other for having different opinions and stuff like that, because that's not happening enough in other areas of the world like politics right now. We need to keep the avenues open in the communication no matter what. So let's see. Raymond saying that Gravedigger, only slump we're in is Raptors withdrawal. Raps 2023, baby. We're going to get another championship this year. Big Roy, big number 4, Scotty Wayne Barnes. This man wants championships. This man hates losing. I seen him on Twitch. He loses a video game, he gets pissed. And you don't know how pissed off he was after that Philadelphia loss. He was not happy, and he's going to come back next season. And that's why I want to call him the Dread Baron, not just because of his nice twisty dreads in his hair, but that other teams will dread playing him. That is the Dread Baron, Scotty Von Barnstormer, and that the Barnstormer will fly again. And that when he makes some crazy ass dunk, I want to hear Matt Devlin says, Dread Baron flies again. Dread Baron, Dread Baron. I like that nickname. If we got Tom Duke, we got to have Scotty Von Barnstormer, the Dread Baron. Oh yeah, Dread Baron. All right, let's see. Tom Duke saying, come play trivia. Tuesday is the start to new season starts. G is the tough and deserving defending champ. That's right. G is the muscle of the trivia. And G, once again, I'm going to have to get your address so I can send you your prize, the J. Whitey Jerome Williams practice jersey autograph. I don't care where I'm sending it. I'll send it to you. It doesn't matter if it's a faraway place. If you have a P.O. box somewhere, I will send it wherever you want, G. It's just we need you to get I need you to message me or maybe email me or somehow, some way get me your information without putting it on blast in the chat. We got to figure out how we're going to do that because I do want to get this sent to you as soon as possible. David's saying, just like dodgeball, laugh out loud. He's like, yeah, just like Rip Torn says, you could dodge a wrench. You can dodge a ball. I love that. Gravedigger saying, just keep it classy or I'll have to wrench you. This is awesome. This is a little bit of shit talk is always fun. Gravedigger, respect. Seriously. That you hung around and we didn't devolve into just like bam, 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 I hate you kind of stuff. That we need to all be able to have a respectable conversation and stuff like that. So Tobias saying, it took me a few months to actually get a Raptors 19 chip hat here in Calgary. Didn't have a credit card. Yeah, it's tough. Like, I bet it's real tough to get Raptors gear in other places around the country, in certain places. Like, it's really hard to get Raptors gear in the States. Like, when I was in Florida in the 90s, I was a huge Raptors fan right from the start. I could not find any Raptors gear at any Foot Lockers or Champ Sports or anything down in Florida. It sucked. And when I did find something Raptors, I immediately bought it up and had it as soon as I did find it. Most of the stuff I bought was coming back here and coming downtown, getting Raptor stuff back then. And I have crazy old Raptors gear that I used to wear and stuff like that I don't have anymore. I wish I did. It just got worn out. Hats and shirts from like original year Raptors. Like, oh my gosh, I had like a Raptors basketball shirt, gray sweatshirt that you would have like they would wear in practice from their first year. And it got a big rip in the sleeve and it's gone now. I have no idea where it is at this point. but man, it would be worth something at this point. Rahul's saying this year's draft won't be entertaining compared to last year's draft. I think Rahul's right. Rahul coming in once again near the end of the stream with a very poignant observation, and I think he's exactly right. I think last year's draft was better than this year's draft coming out, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll have to see. The guys like Cade and Scotty and Evan and Franz Wagner, Josh Giddey. This is a really good draft class from last year. And this year, I don't know if there's any slam dunks like there were this past season. And I think Rahul's right. Gravedigger saying you guys should mix in some Orlando Magic trivia with the Raptor trivia. No, you'd be shocked to see the kind of trivia I come up with these questions. There's really good questions and stuff like that. I do know Magic stuff because that's another team I rooted for in the beginning. Before the Raptors were around, I was a Magic fan also. And the early Magic. Like I could do a Magic trivia where it's like, what are the original Orlando Magic players from the first year? Otis Smith, Jerry Reynolds, Terry Catledge, Reggie Theus, Nick Anderson, Scott Skiles, Mark Akers, Moreland Wiley. Yeah, I can go deep cut on Orlando Magic also because I do know them too. But no, this is a Raptors channel, and the Magic are the enemies at this point. So yeah, David is like, that I've never seen that emoticon. He's got like weird green fingers. That's weird. That's kind of cool. Tom Duke saying Rahul is so hard to keep track of who is available for us. So many directions the draft could go. Trusting and exciting. Yeah. Listen, I think that Kai Soto really is a secret that's trying to be held under the wraps. Like I'm hearing more in the last couple of days that the Lakers really super covet him and that they're trying to get a draft pick just to try and get Kai Soto somehow, some way. Like they are looking for a draft pick because they really want Kai Soto. And that says something right there that somebody said in the comments in the last couple of days on the last stream that on the download, the NBA is hiding Kai Soto from the mainstream because he's a secret and that somebody's trying to get him on the download and that they don't want everybody to know about him and blow him up. And that this may be why we're not seeing him on like Sports Illustrated and Sporting News's mock draft list, is that they're keeping him on the download for somebody to sneak in and try and get him. So yeah, I think that that's what's going on with Kai Soto. And once again, 2 thumbs up from me. We pick him at 33. I'll be very happy. So let's see. Great Digger, you don't have a wrench. Where are you going to use a wrench? Seriously. All right, let's see. Tobias is saying, I hope they wear the classic Raptor Dino jersey again this upcoming season. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to come up on our 25th season. Or no, wait, we already did our 25th season. We're going to come up on our 30th season. And that'll be the next milestone that we'll do. It's like the 30th season of Raptors basketball in like 3 years. So and maybe we'll bring back that old classic one then. Is you really on the anniversary seasons we should be doing that. Now, somebody was saying we need to get the Bosch red chevron jersey back as a throwback this year. That maybe we need to bring some love to that one this season. David's saying we should try to get Jovic. He may be available at 33. Yeah, I've seen him in the middle of the 20s on most mock drafts. That's a weird guy. He's like a power forward, but he's Nikola Jovic. He's not Nikola Jokic. He's Nikola Jovic. So I don't know. I don't know much about him. He's not somebody that I'm totally that interested in. I figured let's not get another power forward. Let's go ahead and get a center. There's enough centers in this draft that we need a center, honestly. So if we're not going to get a really good shooter that's kind of like a swingman, a shooting guard, small forward, let's get a center. And let's get somebody like Kai Soto or Koloko or Ismail Kamagate or something like that. That's what I'm saying. Tom Duke saying New Jersey style will be off the hook. I'm not even sure what you're talking about. Gravedigger saying he was giving me the finger. That's what that was? That emoticon with the green fingers? That's a finger? Okay, David, I like that. All right. Yeah, and it's kind of hilarious. It's a very feisty stream today for being a Share Love Club Fred Van Vleet. Gravedigger, did it tickle? Oh my gosh. You're right, Gravedigger. See you next time. Ha ha. Ah, hilarious. All right, Rahul's saying, I'm hoping both Gary and OG can start scoring more than 20. Yeah. We did this impressive thing where you had so many players over 15 points per game. What if we had like 3 or 4 players that averaged 20 points or right at under 20 points a game? I think that could be very possible. Rahul's saying, for us to make the Eastern Conference Finals, OG and Gary with Pascal and Scotty have to be a huge scoring threat. Yeah, all of them from all angles. All of them can be like problems in different ways because they were like that last season. That it's like, look, you can key on Pascal, but look out. OG's doing something to hurt you somewhere else, or Precious, or Fred, or Gary. That's what we want, is different people to step in and read the floor for the mismatches, read the floor for where they're covering harder on, and make them pay because of our balanced talent throughout our 5 guys, that all of them can be adequate. That we've seen in the finals how they lay off Draymond in different ways. We don't want to have a single player on the court where they feel like they can lay off of them on the offensive end. We want all of them to be very dangerous in scoring if they do lay off them and making them pay. Stuff like that. Yeah. And Rahul's saying, let Freddie take a step back on offense. Yeah, I agree with this, but don't throw him completely out. That's the thing. This is what we got to balance. The argument against Fred is like, these people are going to say he's not worth this money in this. We're getting back to the original topic, and this is good. He's not going to be worth this contract extension. They're wrong, because all the intangibles, the leadership, the championship pedigree, the understanding of what it takes to get there, these are all things that are worth paying money for. And then it may not be that we're paying money for production or being the man on the team. We're paying money for stability, leadership, and just him. There's a skill set that he has that's unique on our team that is necessary for our ingredient to success. And that we cannot sell him short because he was hurt at the end of the last season and he looked bad. We cannot sell him short because he is short and he is a shorter player that gets his shot blocked. That there's so many things about his heart, his mentality, and the way he carries himself that are worth so much. Every single dollar that he may get in a contract extension this year. So please, if somebody's telling you he's not worth that money, tell him he is. And then if somebody's telling you, well, he shouldn't play as much as certain players, well, okay, we can give you that. But he's the kind of guy that will take the step back and do the things that will help the team to win in the end, no matter what it is, whether it's him taking a step forward and stepping up and trying to take over the game and win it for us, or him taking a step back and allowing somebody else to do it. He will do whatever it takes for sure. All right, let's see. Rahul's saying, should the Raptors pursue a trade for Jordan Clarkson? I'm not a big fan on getting any of the Utah guys, any of the players from around there right now. I don't want any of them. I don't want Gobert. I don't want Mitchell. I do not want Clarkson. I don't want anything from Utah right now. If it's from Utah, we don't want it, is what I'll say right now. And Clarkson's an interesting player, but I don't think it's worth it. Like, we've got players that are similar to him that I think are better. Tom Duke's saying Fred has some heavy and sticky hands on D. I agree, and hate it when he's chucking it up too much. Yeah, that may be the thing, is like that we clean up, is that the inefficient shots, the desperate shots. Maybe our offense works better this year, and he doesn't have to take so many last-second shots just because we have to. Then maybe we beat defenses a little bit earlier in the shot clock, and that we're not having to work so hard that all of a sudden he has to take a bad shot that looks bad. That's what I'm saying. Our offense could be way better, way more efficient, way more together in passing, playing off each other. And that's what I expect next season, more of that. Let's see. And yeah, Tom, you're right. About his hands on defense, he has huge, giant, strong hands. And even though he's a small player in the positionless scheme, he can guard the low post because he can strip guys and he's so strong. He can take the ball away from an opposing center, like a strength of a center, and rip it out of their hands because Fred is so strong for a guy his size. That's another really big key intangible that we don't talk about enough, is his giant hands for his size and how strong he is and how good he is at stealing. And that combo of him and Gary Trent Jr. in the backcourt for stealing the ball is very daunting and difficult for another team to play against and bring the ball up against and guard the ball and protect the ball. That we cause turnovers because of that guard combo, Van Vleet and Trent Jr. So Rahul's saying we need some scoring depth off the bench. I agree. We'll get it somehow, some way, maybe in free agency, maybe with the 33rd draft pick. David's saying Armani Brooks is going to be good. Just wait. I'd like to see his grind this summer. He's posting a lot of stuff of him working out. He's really looking like a keeper. Like, I'm glad we kept him. Like, this could be a dude that's kind of like Gary Payton II. We had him for a second. We let him go. And now why did we do that? Gary Payton II is a badass on Golden State now. Armani Brooks could be that same kind of guy. And we don't want to give up on him too soon. In some ways, he could take Malachi's spot on this team in the future. That Malachi had a certain path laid out for him to take, but he hasn't taken it yet. Well, Armani may step in there and take his path of destiny from him if Malachi doesn't get his act together. And I like Armani in a lot of different ways. And I love seeing how much he's working out this summer. He's got it all over Instagram. Rahul saying Malachi is gone after this season. If we can do Flynn, 2 second-round picks, and Kem Birch for a deal. Interesting. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think you're right that this season is his do or die year. He has to show some promise at this point. He didn't really show any promise this year. The Tampa year was tough. He was good in the Tampa year. I thought he was pretty good, and he showed some good stuff there. But last year was a real bad year for Malachi. This year needs to be a good year, kind of like the Tampa year. It's really important for him if he wants to be in the NBA. Gravedigger wants us to get Rudy Gobert because he's French-Canadian. He's not Canadian in any place. He's straight up French. Rudy Gobert is not from Canada in any kind of way. He's straight up French, and he's not Canadian. So we don't want Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is we'll pass. Thanks. No, we don't need to trade OG for Rudy Gobert. We're not into that. Tobias is saying, I still respect Lowry and miss him on the Raps. Totally. Yes. Totally. Yes. Kyle Lowry Road. Yes, I feel bad for Lowry. You know, his position on the Miami Heat is not necessarily comfortable just because Pat Riley called him out and all this kind of stuff. The fan nation's eating him alive in some ways on social media. It's just not right. This is not how the greatest Raptor of all time deserves to be treated by this team in Miami. I'm sorry. Tom Duke's saying that's Jake Fisher news. Yeah, he's probably talking to Gravedigger about Gobert. It's Jake Fisher news. Yeah, he's not French-Canadian. He's just from France. Yep. Rahul's saying if Monty Brooks can become like Lou Williams with better defense, that'd be nice. Yeah. Yeah. If he can ball out like Lou Williams does and play better defense, oh, yeah, I love that. That's music to my ears, Rahul. David's saying, I don't think there is a chance we get Rudy, but Vegas has it at 50-50 odds. Rudy comes to Raps. Whatever. Their odds are always weird with the Raptors. That's what I'm saying. At the beginning of next season, look and see what they say for us for getting the playoffs. Look and see what the odds are for us to get the Eastern Conference Finals. Look and see what the odds are for us to make a championship and win it. You know, they're going to probably put us to something. And if you bet on us that early, get those good odds, you can make a lot of money if the Raptors prove everybody wrong like they always do. It's like, that's what I'm saying. If you want to win money gambling, bet on the Raptors against odds, any kind of Vegas odds, because they're always slanted and biased against the Raptors. And in some ways, that's an easy way to make money. Bet on the Raptors preseason before anything. When they're all prognosticating, oh, they're going to be garbage. They're going to be just like Gravedigger said at the beginning and all this kind of stuff, whereas that's not the reality of what's happening. And it's like easy money. It's like, go ahead and get easy money, Raptor fans, at the beginning of the year. I'm telling you, easy money. Rahul saying, David, I'm praying that that's not true. Me too. Yeah, whatever. They can make odds. They can say this. They can say that. It doesn't mean that Masai is going to do what they want. He didn't pick Jalen Suggs. He didn't pick Jalen Suggs. So this is the thing. We have a brain trust. And they use their brain, and they don't just listen to everybody else and take in information that way. They're making the decisions from their standpoint and understanding what's best for us, and that's what I love. Tom Duke saying that's a bet I might explore. No way Gobert becomes a Raptor. Yeah, I don't think that it will happen. The money's just too much and too much for us to give up. And honestly, I don't think we really want him. Like our whole building structure is without a center, and I think that's on purpose. Then on the download, we've already decided the league's moving away from centers, and we don't even want to waste our time investing or having a huge contract like that. And that's part of the reason why teams like Phoenix and Utah do not value Gobert and Ayton as much as they used to. That the writing's on the wall, that the league's changing, and that people like Embiid, Jokic, these guys are maybe going to hurt their teams in ways that make it so they don't win championships. You know, so Rahul's saying Malachi is gone after this upcoming season. Trade him. Malachi, 2 second-round picks, Kem Birch for Jordan Clarkson. All that for Jordan. I like Kem too much for that. Like, I really do. I really, really value Kem. Like, Kem is on the down low, a really important piece to our team. That he's one of our best screen setters. We're going to do a Share the Love Club for Kem Birch at some point, and we'll go over all the reasons why he's so important. For sure. Tom Duke's saying, what role is Kem going to have? I think he's going to continue to have what he's had already. if you know what I'd love to see, I'd love to see the Raptors coaches challenge Ken Burch to expand his offense and try harder on offense. He's too unselfish. That I see him give up really good shots that he could make and take and help us for giving a pass, an extra pass to somebody else. I don't like that. Kemp, get more aggressive. Believe in your offensive game and average like 10 points a game for us this season. You're a great partially starting center for us. Some games you may start because of the matchup. Some games you may not. But I like what you do for us in all kinds of ways, whether it's getting good screens for our shooters like Gary and Fred, or it's just the defensive stuff he does. He's our best rim protector on our team right now. He's the closest thing to Marc Gasol on our team right now, as far as clogging up the lane and making it hard for people near the basket. And that's why I super value him. I'm going to value him and Fred because they're the ends of the spectrum for our team. That we need Fred for what he does at the little guy stuff, and we need Cam because he's the closest damn thing to a center that we got. And we're going to need him. Plus, you don't throw away a guy like Ken Burch, who used to drive from Montreal to Raptor games with his dad as a kid. He's a Raptor fan. He's from Canada. It was his dream to play for the Toronto Raptors. He's finally on the team that he wants to be on. He's a good citizen. He's a very useful role player on our team. You do not devalue that. That is very important. That is so important. We want more Canadians on the team also. Yeah, Gravedigger saying I could have swore he's French. No, French Canadian. No, he's just straight up French, just like Tony Parker and who is it? Boris Diaw. Those guys are French guys, and they're not anything to do with Canada. Tom Duke saying, yeah, right, shaking my head. Boucher is a real French Canadian and a great one. Yeah, Boucher is French Canadian. But he's really from St. Lucia. David's saying he plays for France in the Olympics, not Canada. Yeah, we don't have anything to do with Rudy Gobert other than he was playing us when he touched all the microphones and started this whole fucking mess of pandemic. Oh my gosh, that guy. Tom Duke's got the honey pot out. That's very interesting, very weird. Stirring up the honey pot. I see what's going on. Yeah, Gravedigger's just stirring it up. Let's see. I got a really good Canada joke. Why is maple syrup always so sad? Because it's sappy. Oh, that's such a dad joke, man. Happy Father's Day to that dad joke is what I'll say to that, Gravedigger. Tom Duke's saying that's not a bad dad joke. Happy Father's Day. You see, Tom Duke's saying he's on the same page as me here. Rahul's saying rumors are Jazz want star caliber player, prospect, and multiple first round picks. He's not a top 10 player in the NBA. You're talking about Clarkson. Yeah, see, I think that Jazz and most of their offers, when we're talking about Gobert, Mitchell, Anunoby, any of these names and what the buzz has been, their prices are too steep for us. They got to realize they're the team in trouble. The Jazz are the ones that need something to happen. We don't have to do jack shit. We don't give a fuck. We don't need to make a damn move this whole summer. We just re-signed Chris Boucher, hopefully re-sign Thad Young also, get one free agent, some sort of good guy, a 33rd pick in the draft, and we're going to be fine. We're not desperate to go make a big deal just like because Shaq and Charles said we don't have any superstars. Motherfuckers, we got stars. We got multiple stars that all add up to a superstar, and that's why they don't see us. They don't see us because they don't understand how balanced we are. Gravedigger's saying wrenches got to stay together. Tobias saying it's pretty pathetic that the American sports media don't even give the Raptors any respect. Hell, they didn't even give Scotty Barnes his respect for winning the Rookie of the Year award. Scott will be even better. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. It's just how it is. It's just the lay of the land. In fact, that may be part of what motivates us to be that much better. That we have to be that much better to get any respectability, to get any credibility in the league. We have to do that much more. And that says something. Once again, I'll say the parallels to people in society. There's the haves and the have-nots. That, a Boston Celtics, the team is basically like a middle-aged white man who had privilege their whole life, giving them everything, every chance, every possible chance, every good opportunity. And the Raptors may be a minority, may be a kind of that kind of treatment in society in the whole NBA ecosystem is what I'm saying. It's a great example for privilege and seeing how teams get privileged propped up and built up into a whole mystique like the Lakers and the Celtics. And then you see teams that are in smaller markets, maybe they're a Canadian team, and they get dissed. This is a great example to see the parallels in society on how the individual gets treated when privilege is involved. So there you go. There's a little bit of sociology lesson there, right there. It's a good example of this. And we get to see how people in society that don't have privilege have to overcome so much more. And that is what the Raptors have to do themselves. Rahul saying, I mean, for Gobert. Oh, that's for what they want for Gobert. Yeah, see, that's still too steep. I don't want to do that for Gobert. That's crazy. That doesn't line up, though. The money doesn't line up. They have to have OG in the deal. That you can't have Malachi and just Cam in that deal. They want OG. They specifically want OG. And that's the only deal they'll do to move Gobert. Is OG has to be involved. And I'm not about that. I don't want that. Yeah, it's all good, Rahul. Don't worry. It's like we'll figure it all out, clarify it later, and all that kind of stuff. And there's always miscommunication. Like we were talking about the sarcasm earlier. There may be misspellings. There may be that one word got put out of place. I try and usually make it make sense. So Tom Duke's saying, hey, no way. It's not delusional. All right, guys. Share the Love Club, Fred Van Vleet. Fred is El Capitan. He's Fredrico. He is twinning with Drake. Did you see the new Drake video? It's a little weird. Tristan Thompson's in it. It's like he's getting married to 23 women. I haven't listened to the album, but I did see the new video. It did not make my list of best 15 videos of the week. Because first of all, I don't like what the message he's trying to send and stuff like that. In some ways, it kind of smacks of insecurity, Drake, that you got to marry 23 Instagram models in your new video and stuff like that. Like it's kind of demeaning towards women in some way what you did. And that's why I can't celebrate that. It's a beautifully shot video. And those women are absolutely beautiful. And it's very classy and a very interesting video. But I could not, the music wasn't that good. I'm going to tell you right now. Because listen, I don't want to hear that idiot wedding singer in the middle of it singing all off key and stuff like that. It takes away from the vibe of the video. I'm sorry. Some people think it's funny. Some people are into it. He's just cussing and saying stupid stuff. To me, it's annoying because I just wanted to hear a nice, smooth Drake joint right on through without some clown singing some wedding singer bad imitation in the middle of it. That's my critique of Drake's new video that dropped in the last day or so. You could do better with Falling Back is what I'm saying, Drake. Now, I haven't listened to the whole album yet. I've heard mixed things. Some people really like it. Some people think it's really bad. So I'll have to go listen to it and see what it's all about this weekend and stuff like that. So let's see. Go Raps. I'll always repeat that, David. Tobias saying, I didn't even know that Steph's dad, Dell, played for the Raps roughly for 3 seasons, but I don't remember that. Yeah, I do. Because I was working at the building at that time. Del Curry is a great Raptor legend. And unlike Vince and other people, he's more like JYD and Muggsy Bogues. He comes back and celebrates the Raptors still. He's not afraid to embrace his Raptors history. Sure, he's more of a Charlotte Hornet in some ways. That is really his legacy is in Charlotte because he didn't play as much or as well here in Toronto, but he was an important part of our early playoff runs with Vince Carter and Alvin Williams. The Del Curry is a fine, upstanding Raptor legend in some ways in my book. And that, like I said before, when I worked at the arena, I went out there and sat in the arena and watched Dell shoot with Seth and Steph when they were like 12 years old on the NBA court in the Air Canada Center. And Steph was bombing threes as a 12-year-old on the Air Canada Center court, the Raptors court, as a middle school kid and stuff like that. So Steph grew up partly in Toronto. He went to middle school here for 3 years, and he has a love for Toronto. That's why he was singing "Oh Canada" with his wife and Andrew Wiggins after the win on Thursday night. Tom Duke saying, I watched Uncut Gems last night. Great suggestion from the streams. Yeah, Tom, isn't that such a good movie? And you can see, if you watched Hustle also, you can see why I prefer Uncut Gems over Hustle. Is because Uncut Gems was original. It was a story that was never told before. It was a very interesting story because it really put a whole side to the gambling aspect of the NBA. And then all the other stuff involved in it with the crime and the thriller kind of stuff, that's fascinating to me. I'm a Scorsese fan. I love old Robert De Niro films. I love old Pacino films. I love those old mafia films like Goodfellas and Casino. I love those kind of movies, and Uncut Gems was in that style of movie. Unlike Hustle. Hustle was just kind of like a feel-good, random, run-of-the-mill kind of like basketball movie that's the cliche same beats of the story. Exactly the same. It's the story has been told time and time again. Well, Uncut Gems had something completely original and different that I had never seen before. And like, I really love Kevin Garnett's performance in that movie, and Adam Sandler, absolutely fantastic in that movie. It's a brutal movie at times, and it's really, really worth watching, stuff like that. So, yeah, Tom Sand is better than Hustle for sure. Yeah, it is. And it has that basketball element to it still. And it's just like really well made. Tobias saying, I wouldn't mind seeing both Curry boys on the Raps one day, but a guy can dream. Yeah, I don't think that will ever, ever happen. I think Steph is that kind of guy that he will stick with one team his whole career. If it's going to be this way, and he's like a god in Golden State land, he's probably going to do that. And we'd love to see that with Fred. Let's not get it twisted. We want Fred to do this. Fred says he wants to be a lifer. Let's allow him to do this. That the NBA is much more healthy when the superstars do stick to one team, like Giannis saying with Milwaukee, Steph Curry with Golden State, Fred Van Vleet with Toronto. That's the way the 80s NBA was, and it really worked well. Larry Bird, Boston, John Stockton, Utah, Magic Johnson, the Lakers. That we need that again. Reggie Miller, the Pacers. Those are the kind of guys. Tim Duncan on the Spurs. We need more of that instead of this jumping ship, trying to build super teams and stupid shit like this recent generation has done, LeBron and Kevin Durant. That those guys were bad for the league. And that if this new generation is more like the older generation that I just talked about, that'll be good because it'll be people like Scotty Barnes, hopefully, will only wear a Toronto Raptor jersey in the NBA, stuff like that. That's what I like. Oh, yeah. Good morning, Sue. I thought I missed you, but better late than never. Yeah, we're just going a little long. It's Fred Van Vleet. We got to share the love for Fred Van Vleet. There's so much love for him. You know, it's maybe a certain percentage of the stream, and there's other stuff on the stream, but the whole running thread here is sharing the love for Fred Van Vleet, our El Capitan, our guy, and stuff like that. So David's saying, yeah, seems like Seth is kind of underrated. I'm a huge fan. Yeah, I thought that was a huge blunder by the Sixers. That forget about Ben Simmons and Harden. Seth Curry was very important to the Sixers before they traded him. In fact, I thought the Sixers were better before that trade and that they didn't necessarily need to appease Ben Simmons and get him out of there. In fact, I would have punished him and not let him get to another team. I wouldn't have tried to even get James Harden. I would have let that thing ride out and figure out what happens. And then at the offseason and let the team play with Drummond and Curry instead of Harden. Because in some ways, those two guys are more for Philadelphia in balance and better for the team than Harden by himself on that team. So I agree with that. And I think you're right. Seth Curry is way underrated. That he is, I mean, his brother obviously is a fantastic player, but Seth is actually really good himself, too. He's a really good player. Tom's saying, woohoo, Sue, good morning. Morning to Sue. Has been an interesting morning. Grave Digger's saying, why shouldn't curlers tell jokes on the ice? Because it might crack up. Oh my gosh. Dude, this is pretty good. Grave Digger might actually have a Canadian joke book here. And I'm all about it. Listen, I love a good, corny, bad dad joke. Seriously. Oh, and Tom Duke even put the Y in there. he's like your straight man there. It's hilarious. All right. Tobias saying, I wonder if Seth will ever play with his brother. Well, they did when they were younger. They did a lot. I love what Seth said in his tweet after Steph won. He said, y'all need to recognize how great my brother is and start putting his name in more conversations and give him the respect that he deserves. Seth Curry, good job for putting your brother on blast and saying exactly what's true. You're right. They need to respect Steph Curry more and really his place in the game and the history of the game as an all-time great. And Seth put it on blast on Twitter. It's so good. Sue saying hi to everybody. Damn, sounds like I missed a good one. Well, you can always go back, Sue. Watch me at like time and a half speed. If you're not watching me live, I know my streams can be very long. If you put me on 1.5 or 175, you will get through my stream really fast and you'll get everything. You'll understand it. That's what Tom likes to do when he doesn't catch me. Sue saying, share the love for Freddie, our leader, El Fredrico, the Drake's twin, all that good stuff. Tom Duke saying, share the positivity and love every day, as Scotty Roy says. And then there's a wrench. Like Grave Digger's just throwing wrenches at happiness. It's like, Grave Digger, are you a curmudgeon? Are you coming in here to be the grumpy curmudgeon while we have our share love club? Is that what's going on? He's trying to throw wrenches at us. Sue saying, love that sentiment. Tobias saying, nice to finally join the stream. Good people, good vibes. Yes, that's exactly what my goal was, and I'm glad more and more people are finding this. If you know other Raptor fans that are like us, that are positive, that are optimistic, are not cynics, are not people trying to tear down our players and get them sent out of town, are not people that are inundated with the U.S. media and believing their messages about our team. Because that's a part of the problem. Is much like half of the United States gets bad information from Fox News, there's a lot of Raptor fans that listen to American media talk about the Raptors, and it reflects poorly on us, and they parrot and echo their opinions, thinking that they know what they're talking about, whereas they're just trumpeting and parroting the lies and the stuff that people want to believe about the Raptors, like what Gravedigger said earlier when he was in here. Is that we have this problem in our own fan nation of our own fans picking up information from the American media and pushing it forward. It has no place. Like, seriously, they're sewering us on purpose, y'all. And you need to realize that. Let's see. Tom Duke saying Steph was funny during the ending of the finals game, watching his phone and not the game. Didn't seem too interested in the game. He was crying. He was crying. He was having a hard time just keeping it together. His dad came down real close to the end of the court. He had his cigar out already, and like he was actually talking to him while the game was going on. He's standing in the baseline with Dell, talking to him before the game even finished. It was like a real, they had to leave the Warriors starters, the championship four from all four championships on the court. They brought Iguodala in at the end and let them bask in it. Meanwhile, they got Pangos and Cornette, or not Pangos, Stauskas and Cornette, and the end of the bench Celtics out there playing on the court with him. He's not really worried about them coming back on 10 and stuff like that. But yeah, he was crying. He felt very emotional about this. In fact, I had never seen Steph Curry that emotional. And during the game clock is still running and stuff like that. But I did love his hand gestures. Once again, he did 3 hand gestures. He said, quiet down like this to them. He didn't do a full airplane. He didn't do any airplane like Joel. He did a quiet down. Then he pointed to his ring finger, and then he put them to sleep. Is what he did. And I thought that that was all very effective. All right, Gravedigger learned something today. We all found out that Gobert wasn't French Canadian. Well, we knew this. You found out. At least people are learning things today. Tom Duke saying Steph was definitely involved in the game. And David said, we all knew that except you. Yeah, on that note, share the love club. Thank you, Fred Van Vleet, for being a Raptor. We are so happy that you made it into this league, and you continue to reach for heights and heights. And listen, this man has a vision board. He has a vision board with more Larry O'Brien's in his future. He wants to carve out a niche and an identity that he is a champion. And he wants to do that without Kawhi and Kyle. He wants to lead this team to another championship because it'll show he's the common thread, much like Steph Curry has shown as a Golden State Warrior. Fred wants the same thing. The Raptors are going to get a second championship with Fred Van Vleet as their leader, and that will put him, even elevate him more in the history of the NBA and his identity as being a champion. Don't get it twisted. That's what he's all about, and that's what we want as our leader, is that kind of leader. He lines up with what Masai wants. He lines up with what Nick Nurse wants, and that's important, that they're all on the same page. And that's why Masai, it's his guy. He will invest in him until as long as he wants. And he will. Trust me, he's going to give him that extension this summer. And as Raptor fans, if you hear our own nation whine and cry about it, please take any of the talking points that I've given you today and use it to counterpoint them, as far as why Fred needs to be here and why he deserves the money and why he can coexist with the changes that are happening with our team as we go forward into this new season with an emerging superstar like Scotty Barnes and other great players like Precious and Gary Trent Jr., OG, all these guys coming even more into their own together and stuff like that. So Tobias saying, I was and still a Bulls fan, have gained respect for what the Warriors have done in the last decade. Raps are still my number one. Right on, Tobias. I respect the Bulls. I like the Bulls more this season than the last time I really liked the Bulls was when they had Rodman. Like, I was a big fan of the Bulls when they won those championships with Rodman, because Rodman's absolutely one of my favorite players of all time, Dennis Rodman. And so I had to root for the Bulls, even though I really hated them up until then, until they got Rodman. Well, last year I had to root for them again because one of my favorite players of all time, DeMar DeRozan, was leading them. And I do like what DeMar's been doing in Chicago, so I root for them to an extent. But I like to hear that Raptors are your number one. And Sue has put the right cherry on top for this stream right here. Freddy equals Raptors for life. And I believe this. That's so good. Kyle Lowry Road will have an addition that leads to Fred Van Vleet Way. I love it, Raymond Jacob. That's all the kind of stuff I love to hear. All right, tomorrow, Sunday special report, NBA season 2022, year in review. What were the good and bad about the season? Were there things that they did that were different that worked? Like as far as different things like the play-in, how was it this year? And different things with the G League and different things where they're trying different things with rules and the way they called fouls at the beginning of the season, all this kind of stuff. Everything's on the table as far as the NBA game and its product. And how was it this season for 2022? We'll talk about the good and the bad tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You got the time, Grave Digger. All right. I can't say a bad word about Fred Van Vleet. He's gained a lot of respect from the Raps fan base. Yes. That's it. And listen, they're going to sewer him. Our own fans are going to put him down, and we need to protect him from the negative fans that are going to do this in the next couple weeks when he does get this extension, because he's going to. All signs point to it. He wants it, and I'm pretty damn sure that Masai and Bobby do too. So they'll make the money work, and they'll figure out all the long-term schemes for all the money for all the guys in different ways. And as we said before, bird rights allow you to do a lot more than you think. And that's what's shown with the Golden State Warriors being able to retain their nucleus for so long, for this nice long nucleus of champions, chips, and dynasty. So, all right, y'all. Thanks once again. I appreciate all y'all. We love you, Fred Van Vleet. Keep shooting, shooter. We know they're going to go in. And we also trust and know that you will do the best things for our team to win more championships, because you're all about winning. You're not a selfish man that is all about just yourself. You know that you will do the roles that we need. And I know you're going to be an integral, important person for the Raptors in their next championship. So we love you, Fred, and we fully bless any kind of contract extension that you get this summer and continue to keep you in a Raptor red uniform. All right, let's go, Raptor freaks. Let's go, Raptors. Let's have a great offseason. Get out there and touch grass, as Scotty would say. You get out there and touch grass. It's a Saturday. If you're Granny Evelyn, go get on Niagara on the lake with baby Candace and have just a wonderful sunshiny day. If you're Grave Digger, wherever you are, go tell your bad Canadian dad jokes to whatever audience you can garner wherever you are. I'm sure you'll get a couple little or maybe like wah and stuff like that. But yeah, if you get any full laughter, then you know you have a real connoisseur of dad joke humor. All right, guys. Fred Van Vleet equals work it to the bone. Stay grateful and humble. Bet on yourself. Yes, I love it, guys. All right, y'all. See y'all tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Let's go!